Immortal family of the Clear River. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 251 Operation Failed. Yingqiao Ridge is located in a deep mountain in the northeast of Wei State and connected to Zhang State in the east. This place belongs to the vacuum of power between the two countries. It is adjacent to the Funiu Mountain with a relatively harsh environment. It has never been populated. Because of this, Yingqiao Ridge is somewhat similar to Bailong Mountain. Many desperate casual cultivators and those robbers who robbed and looted houses gathered here to avoid being wanted by the cultivators of the two countries. Decades ago, a casual cultivator named Chang Yiling offended a foundation building Immortal in Zhang State and fled to Yingqiao Ridge. This person was originally just an unknown little Qi refining casual cultivator in Zhang State. Unexpectedly, after he fled to Yingqiao Ridge, he actually began to turn his luck around. I don't know where he got the opportunity and he succeeded in building a foundation. After Chang Yiling built his foundation, he quickly took all the vicious criminals near Yingqiao Ridge under his command. He also accepted those who came to him, which also made the strength of Yingqiao Ridge gradually grow and became a big disaster in the northeast of Wei State. These bandit cultivators often sneak into Jiangling County of Wei State to do some murder and robbery. Not only Qinghofang, but also Jinshanfang in Pingyang County, Jianglingfang in Jiangling County and other nearby markets are also deeply affected. The bandit cultivators from Yingqiao Ridge that Song Qingming met near Lingyuan Mountain in the past harmed many cultivators near Qinghofang. At the beginning, these people just colluded with some greedy people in Qinghofang and attacked those casual cultivators with no background. Liu Yuanfeng and the Wang family and other major foundation building families did not pay much attention to this. Later, these people became more and more daring and even killed a cultivator under the Wang family. This also angered several major foundation building families in Qing County. Under the leadership of the Wang family, King Hofan conducted a thorough investigation and finally found out several scourges who colluded with Yingqiao Ridge. It was a pity that the robbers from Yingqiao Ridge ran away in advance when they saw the situation was not good, so they did not catch any of them. Since then, Qing County has finally been quiet for a while. A few years later, the people of Eagle Nest Ridge killed several monks of Jinshan Square in Jinshan Square, Pingyang County. Several major families in Pingyang County united and sent many monks under the leadership of the Cao family to fight against them. As a result, because Eagle Nest Ridge was well informed, Chang Yiling knew about this matter long before the monks of Pingyang County set out. Seeing that the other party was powerful, Chang Yiling decisively gave up Lingshan and hid in Funiu Mountain with his subordinates, leaving the monks of Pingyang County empty-handed. After the monks of Pingyang County left, these people returned to Eagle Nest Ridge under the leadership of Chang Yiling and continued to cause trouble. This time, Liu Yuanfeng made such an arrangement, traveling light and bringing as few monks as possible, just to avoid the eyes and ears of Eagle Nest Ridge on the road, and kill them when they were not prepared. He was caught off guard. According to his idea, as long as things went well, there was a great possibility of eliminating this disaster. After the agreement was reached here, several major families began to go back and make preparations. The Song family does not have many late-stage Qi refining cultivators now. Including Shi Chun who joined the Song family not long ago, there are only 8 people in total. Qingming could only summon all the late-stage Qi refining cultivators in the family except for his 6th uncle Song Changfeng and his 2nd sister Song Qingwen. After recruiting a few people from several subordinate Qi refining families, he barely gathered 10 people. 3 days later, on a small spiritual vein in the north of Qinghofang, Liu Yuanfeng led the dozens of people who gathered here and went directly north under the cover of night. In addition to the 5 foundation building cultivators who attended the meeting that day, there were more than 50 late-stage Qi refining cultivators from various families. It was a pity that the 2 late-stage foundation building cultivators with the highest cultivation in Qing County, Wang Shangxin and Gao Jin, were unable to come this time. Wang Shangxin happened to leave Qing County for Xiaoyao sect more than half a month ago, and it was not known when he would return. Gao Jin of the Gao family has been in seclusion since he went to the Taiyu Lake secret realm last time. In the past few years, he has been out of character and has not shown up. In recent years, Gao Yubei has been the one in charge of the Gao family. According to the Wang family's speculation, Gao Jin's seclusion should be to heal his injuries. It seems that he was seriously injured and has not yet fully recovered. Now most of the foundation building cultivators in Qing County have left. In order to ensure the safety of King Hufang, Lu Yuanfeng specially called back his eldest disciple Yuan Wenke, who had already built his foundation, to guard King Hufang for him for a period of time. This time, several major foundation building families in Qing County united as one and quickly killed their way to Yingchao Ridge in the northeast of Qing County. Everyone traveled lightly and carefully along the way. After more than 10 days of emergency travel, they finally arrived near Yingchao Ridge within the scheduled time. Just when everyone was ready to fight, Lu Xingde, who was responsible for reconnaissance in advance, brought them a shocking news. There was silence on Yingchao Ridge, as if there were no people there. After learning the news, Lu Yuanfeng's face turned pale, and he led everyone to kill directly to Eagle Nest Ridge. As expected, just as Lu Xingde guessed, Eagle Nest Ridge was already in a mess at this time. Cheng Yilin, the cunning fox, seemed to have left here a few days in advance. Faced with this situation, everyone in Qing County changed their faces. They had acted so carefully this time, but they didn't expect that the news would be leaked, resulting in everyone's attack in vain. The leading several foundation building monks looked at each other, and it seemed that each of them had a target of suspicion in their hearts, but everyone had no actual evidence and couldn't say it directly. It may not be that our own people leaked the secret. It may also be that the people from Eagle Nest Ridge bumped into us somewhere and guessed the purpose of our trip. Lu Yuanfeng, who was responsible for organizing everyone to come here, saw that the atmosphere on the scene was a bit awkward, and hurriedly came out with a wry smile to make peace. Among the people at the scene, Lu Yuanfeng was the oldest and had the highest cultivation level. In addition, he was a cultivator from the Xiaoyao sect. Since he had spoken, everyone had to give him some face and nodded in agreement. Seeing that Eagle Nest Ridge had been prepared, the failure of this operation was already a done deal. Although everyone was very reluctant, they could only accept this fact. Unable to find the robbers of Eagle Nest Ridge, the people who had nowhere to vent their anger could only make a big fuss on this sacred mountain and leave. After everyone in Qing County left, a figure wrapped in black suddenly appeared on a low mountain next to Eagle Nest Ridge. The man in black carefully looked around and saw that there were no figures nearby, so he left the place stealthily. Half an hour later, the man in black came to a cave 100 miles away from Eagle Nest Ridge. More than 100 bandit cultivators from Eagle Nest Ridge had gathered here. Chapter 252, Foundation Building Level 4. So many people were crowded in a small cave, and it was almost difficult to find a place to step. Although these people had a trace of gloomy and impatient look on their faces, they did not dare to make too much noise here. Seeing the black-clothed man suddenly appear at the entrance of the cave, the people who were still gloomy just now began to feel a little happy, and hurriedly stood up and took the initiative to make way for him. The black-clothed man walked through the crowd and came to the deepest part of the cave. He said loudly to a middle-aged man who was still meditating with his eyes closed, "Brother, the gang has withdrawn. Should we go back directly now? Don't worry, wait a while, so as not to fall into their trap." The person who spoke was Cheng Yilin, the boss of Eagle Nest Ridge. This person was not only cunning, but also very vicious. In Eagle Nest Ridge, no matter how close you are to him, if he turns his face, he will definitely not recognize your relatives. Even though so many fierce people are crowded in this cave, no one dared to stand up and complain. The people from King Hufang are coming for us this time. We can't guarantee that they won't have any tricks up their sleeves. We'd better be careful. It's really strange. Why are so many people suddenly coming towards us? I just saw clearly that those who are here are at least in the late stage of Qi refining, and there are at least 5 foundation building masters. If it weren't for you, big brother, who had been prepared, we might have really fallen into their hands this time. Cheng Yilin opened his eyes, looked at the black-clothed man in front of him who was a little puzzled, and continued, "This time it's because the Feng brothers failed in King Hufang and accidentally killed 2 King Hufang guards, which annoyed them. These guys have been becoming more and more ignorant of the world recently. When they come back, we will punish them in public and remind everyone to see clearly who the other party is before taking action, and not to cause such a big disaster for us for no reason. I say, big brother, how did you get the news? The Feng brothers haven't come back yet. How can you be so sure that they are coming for us this time?" The man in black thought about it and asked the question that he wanted to know most. Cheng Yilin smiled and waved his hand and said softly, Of course someone told me in advance, otherwise I wouldn't be able to lead you to evacuate safely so quickly, but this person's identity is still useful to us, so don't ask about it, so as not to make mistakes. Song Qingming felt a little frustrated after all the efforts. After all, Eagle Nest Ridge was his mortal enemy. The robber who had chased him for half a day still often echoed in his mind. I thought I could find this person and take revenge on Eagle Nest Ridge this time, but I didn't expect that after working hard for more than half a month, I just went there to see the scenery and came back. Along the way, Song Qingming kept thinking in his heart, who was so wicked to inform Eagle Nest Ridge in advance, causing them to run all the way in vain. First of all, he could rule out his own side. He didn't tell the people below the real purpose until he set off. When he summoned them, Song Qingming only told them that he was going to carry out a mission, and didn't tell them the specific things and time. It stands to reason that no one could guess it so quickly. After they reunited and set off, they were under the eyes of the 5 foundation building monks. It was impossible for these people to hide any tricks from them. He was sure of this. As for the Wang family, Song Qingming also felt that it was unlikely. After all, one of their family members had died at the hands of Eagle Nest Ridge last time. No matter how bad the Wang family was, they would not dare to secretly communicate with Eagle Nest Ridge at this critical juncture. To be honest, Song Qingming had some doubts about the remaining Gao and Lu families, but he was just suspicious now and had no evidence. Even those people under Lu Yuanfeng, Song Qingming was also a little bit unconvinced. After all, Song Qingming had seen it with his own eyes. Lu Yuanfeng's disciples Hu Maochang and Gao Yufu colluded with each other to harm Li Hongyu and her daughter. It can be seen that there should be many people under his command who can be easily bribed with spirit stones. If Lu Yuanfeng revealed this matter to his disciples at the beginning, it is very likely that he leaked the secret. Anyway, this incident was a reminder to him. Even the law enforcement team guarding the market could be attacked secretly. It can be seen that King Hefang is no longer a safe place. After returning, he must quickly remind the clansmen in the market. Song Qingming now knows that the people in Yingqiaoling usually keep an eye on the activities in the market. They usually keep an eye on the vicinity of the market and target the monks who leave the market. As for the fact that he was attacked near Funiu Mountain that year, it was because Feng Liudao was targeted by the people in Yingqiaoling after leaving King Hefang, and he fled there and suffered. After a month of going back and forth, Song Qingming and others finally returned to Qing County. After returning this time, Song Qingming did not stay in Funiu, but went directly to King Hefang. Song Qingming first summoned the clansmen of the Song family in the market, emphasized this matter, and warned them not to leave the market at will without any necessary matters in the near future. Even if they want to return to Funiu, they must send a message in advance to travel with several people, and never go alone. In order to facilitate the transportation of goods, Song Qingming also temporarily took the Cheyenne Huipeng back from Wang Xian and gave it to his second sister Song Qingwen. Anyway, this guy can now carry one person to and from Funiu and King Hefang. With it, Song Qingwen can also communicate better with Funiu. Not long after returning from Yingqiao Ridge, Song Qingyu finally stabilized her cultivation and came out of seclusion. Sixth uncle Song Changfang wanted to hold a foundation building ceremony for her and invite friends around and major cultivation families to celebrate, but this proposal was quickly rejected by Song Qingyu herself because she didn't want to waste family resources. After Song Qingyu built her foundation, she really matured a lot and began to think more about the family and others. Song Qingming also agreed with her choice. Song Qingming also didn't want the news of Song Qingyu's foundation building to spread so quickly. In order to conceal the news of Qingyu's foundation building, Song Qingming carefully made up a lie for the clan members, saying that she had gone to Gianfang for training half a year ago and didn't know when she would come back. After Song Qingyu established her foundation, the spiritual energy in her original cave became a little insufficient. She simply modified the cave that Song Qingming had temporarily opened half a year ago and moved in. Now that their caves are not far from each other, it is convenient for her to come and ask Song Qingming about some cultivation issues at any time. 4 years passed in a flash. One day, a lot of spiritual energy suddenly gathered in Song Qingming's cave. Even Song Qingyu, who was cultivating not far from his cave, instantly felt the fluctuation of this spiritual energy and hurried out to see what happened. Before Song Qingyu could figure out what was going on, the spiritual energy suddenly dissipated. After a while, the restrictions at the entrance of the cave suddenly dissipated slowly, and Song Qingming, with a smile on his face, slowly walked out from inside. It seems that, seventh brother, you should have broken through to the 4th level of foundation building. Chapter 253, Pros and Cons. Not bad. You can see it so quickly. It seems that you haven't delayed your cultivation in these years, and you have made a lot of progress. Just as Song Qingming said, Song Qingming spent more than 3 months in seclusion this time, and finally broke through to the 4th level of foundation building. Seventh brother, don't flatter me too much. If you hadn't been there to guide me all these years, my cultivation would probably be a lot worse than it is now. Hearing Song Qingming's praise, Song Qingming hurriedly smiled and said modestly. After 4 years, although Song Qingming's cultivation has not yet broken through, but it is not too far from the 2nd level of foundation building. As long as there is another 1 or 2 years, her cultivation breakthrough will be a natural thing. This is actually the limit of the help I can give you. You still have to rely more on yourself in the future. You are more talented than me in spiritual roots, and maybe you can go further than me in the future, but don't let your own heart down. Qingming will definitely keep 7th brother's teachings in mind. Song Qingming nodded to her and continued, has 6th uncle come here recently? Has anything happened in the clan? 6th uncle came here once half a month ago. This year, the output of the mineral veins in Lingyuan Mountain has decreased by 20% compared to last year. Some of the miners living there have nothing to do. 6th uncle wants to discuss with you to see if we should migrate some of the mortals back first. You have also lived in Lingyuan Mountain since you were a child. How do you think this matter should be handled? Song Qingming did not answer directly. Instead, he asked Song Qingming, wanting to hear her opinion. Seeing that the 7th brother seemed to want to test him, Song Qingming quickly said, there are already more than 3,000 mortals in Lingyuan Mountain, but the fertile land that can be reclaimed in the deep mountains is very limited, and the food supply has to be supplemented by Funiu every year, which is indeed too heavy a burden. Now the black iron vein is almost exhausted, and the family has no other industries over there except this vein. It's only a matter of time before some mortals are relocated back. However, the population of the 2 mortal towns currently in the family, Mujao Town and Magu Town, is already saturated. I'm afraid it will be difficult to accommodate so many mortals who are relocated back at once. Our top priority is to quickly build another mortal town to expand the living space for mortals under Funiu. You are right. The family has developed too fast in the past 20 years. We should make some preparations in advance. Let's do as you said. We should hurry up and choose a suitable place to build a town and let Uncle 6 and the others do it first. Seeing that Song Qingming still had some opinions on things, Song Qingming nodded with relief. After Song Qingming left, Song Qingming walked to the edge of the cliff not far in front of the cave alone, sat down quietly, and enjoyed the scenery under the mountain in the cool breeze. After more than 200 years of changes, Funiu Mountain has changed from a dangerous place where monsters are rampant to a place where smoke rises and thousands of families are happy. This change is also the result of the painstaking efforts of 5 generations of cultivators in the Song family. This time, Song Qingming broke through to the 4th level of foundation building, but it was not very smooth. If he had not made up his mind to take the earth spirit dew given to him by the fire phoenix, he would not have been able to break through successfully this time. Song Qingming had seen the spiritual item earth spirit dew in the classics. This kind of natural spiritual item is only produced when the monster beast is going through the golden elixir thunder tribulation. It is an extremely precious spiritual item and rarely falls into the hands of the human race. The effect of this item is similar to what Ho Feng said. Generally, if a foundation building cultivator takes it directly, it can help to improve his cultivation by 1 level. Song Qingming originally wanted to save it for the 9th level of foundation building before taking it. The reason why he took this item so anxiously was that when Song Qingming broke through the 4th level of foundation building, he found himself in a big bottleneck again. If he didn't use the help of the earth spirit dew, he didn't know when he would be able to break through this bottleneck normally. It is estimated that he might not succeed in 10 years. There will not be 2 big bottlenecks in the first 3 levels of the foundation building realm. Generally, cultivators can cultivate to the 3rd level of foundation building in about 20 years. But when it comes to breaking through the 4th level of the middle stage of foundation building, the difficulty begins to be different. Almost every level will be much more difficult. More than half of the foundation building cultivators in the world of immortal cultivation will be stuck here for a long time. By the time they slowly break through to the late stage of foundation building, their lifespan is already insufficient. and these cultivators have completely lost the opportunity to form a pill. Among the foundation building cultivators that Song Qingming is more familiar with, Liu Yuanfang of King Hufang, Gao Jin of the Gao family, and Wang Chenglian of the Wang family are almost the same, including Wang Shenggao and Lu Xingde, who will have the same fate in the future. The lifespan of a foundation building cultivator is only 250 years. Without a lot of resources or special opportunities, few people can improve their cultivation to the 9th level of foundation building within 100 years of their foundation building. In the entire Qing County, there is only one genius, Wang Shengxin, who cultivated to the 9th level of foundation building before the age of 160, and only then had a chance to form a pill. Unfortunately, he was not well prepared for the formation of the pill that year and failed. If Song Qingming wants to form a pill, he must speed up his cultivation and improve his cultivation to the 9th level of foundation building as soon as possible, so that he can give himself more chances to form a pill. After discovering that his cultivation had reached a bottleneck, Song Qingming had only two choices. Either he could wait for time to pass and save the Earth Spirit Dew for the late stage of foundation building. Although this would maximize the effect of this spiritual object, it also had a disadvantage that his cultivation could not be improved now, and his own strength could only stay at this level temporarily. Or he could decisively use the Earth Spirit Dew to break through, so that he could enter the middle stage of foundation building faster, so that his own strength could be improved a lot immediately, but he could only rely on himself to find other spiritual objects for future breakthroughs in cultivation. After weighing the pros and cons, Song Qingming decided to take the Earth Spirit Dew immediately to help break through his cultivation and give priority to improving his own strength. Although he also wanted to make better use of this spiritual object, his current strength was not particularly outstanding among the foundation building cultivators. Compared with the future, he still had to consider his own strength to save his life. However, this Earth Spirit Dew not only helped him break through the bottleneck of the 4th level of foundation building, but the extra spiritual power in it also helped him shorten the time of hard cultivation by at least 5 years. His current cultivation level is not too far from breaking through to the 5th level of foundation building. The sky has gradually darkened, and various lights are slowly lit up at the foot of the mountain, adding a lot of vivid scenes to the entire Funiu Mountain. Song Qingming, who had been sitting for a long time, slowly stood up and returned to his cave. Chapter 254 Family Meeting. Song Qingming, who was practicing in the cave, suddenly had a puff of green smoke coming out of his body. As the green smoke on his body became more and more, Song Qingming finally put away his skills. After his body recovered, he opened his eyes and muttered to himself, "I didn't expect that this spell was so exquisite. No wonder it can help to form a pill after practicing it to perfection." After breaking through to the 4th level of foundation building, Song Qingming used his magic again to try out the various spells he had practiced before, wanting to see how much his strength had improved. Unexpectedly, this time he had an unexpected gain. Since he had established his foundation, he had been practicing the hidden essence technique for many years but had never been able to master it. This time, he finally succeeded in mastering it. He didn't expect that this spell required such a high level of mana in the body, and he couldn't master it before practicing to the middle stage of foundation building. He had been practicing the spell to no avail, and he almost wanted to give up. He didn't expect that this time he could actually practice some tricks, which really gave him a big surprise. According to the description in the Yuxin Sutra, this technique can help cultivators condense the golden elixir. If it can be practiced to perfection, it is much more useful than ordinary elixir-forming spiritual objects. When thinking of this, Song Qingming gradually showed a happy smile on his face. When practicing the Qingming technique, he can refine the spells he practiced in his daily life into his own body and hide them. Although these spells cannot be used at ordinary times, they can strengthen his body after practicing, and can also be used at critical moments to protect his weak points for a moment. It is considered to be some defensive magical power, which is still useful. In this way, Song Qingming fell into seclusion for a long time again. It was not until half a month later that his sixth uncle Song Changfeng sent a voice transmission to inform him to attend the family's annual meeting, and then he was invited out of this cave. Song Qingming came to the meeting hall in front of the mountain and saw that many Song family cultivators, including Song Qinggao, had been waiting here for a long time. After smiling and greeting everyone, he sat next to Song Changfeng at the top. After Song Qinggao established his foundation, Although Song Qingming ordered the clan to keep the matter secret, it was difficult to conceal such a thing for a long time. In the past few years, most of the cultivators in the Song family had already known about it. As a foundation-building cultivator, Song Qingming must also participate in important family meetings like this. Since Song Qingming established his foundation, he has basically never missed the family's annual meeting. This time, Song Changfang arranged this time, which was also discussed with him long ago. It was not until today that all the elders gathered on the mountain that he was invited out by voice transmission. Everyone is here, so let's start the meeting. It's still the old rules. Everyone should report the accounts they manage first. Let's start with Qingwen. Seeing that everyone was here, Song Changfang was the first to announce the start of the meeting. The first to speak was the second sister Song Qingwen, who is in charge of the family's business in Qinghofang. She took out the accounts that she had prepared long ago and said to everyone, "This year, the 4 shops we run in the market have earned a total of 4,612 spirit stones. After deducting the cost of the shops and staff expenses, this year's total surplus is 861 spirit stones. Among them, the medicine shop, grocery store and restaurant are all okay. The business of the shop selling magic tools and talismans is really bad this year, and the accounts can just offset the expenses. In Qinghofang, the Song family only has the alchemy skills of the second sister Song Qingwen. Other skills such as refining tools and making talismans cannot compete with the Wang and Gao families at all. In previous years, they could only eat what others had left. Unexpectedly, this year they couldn't earn a single spirit stone. Although this result was within Song Qingming's expectations, it still made him feel a little hard to accept after hearing it now. He silently made a note of this matter in his heart, and he would find a way to improve this problem in the future. After deducting expenses from the family's several mines, this year we have earned a total of 600 spirit stones, which is relatively normal. However, the black iron ore in Lingyuan Mountain is almost exhausted, and this income will begin to decrease year by year. Ninth Uncle Song Changxin has been in charge of managing several mines in recent years. He spends most of his time in Funiu Mountain, and it is a rare opportunity for him to return to Funiu. The next person to speak was the 6th brother Song Qing, who had just become the elder of the family. His cultivation talent was not high, and he had just broken through the 7th level of Qi Refining. However, with the skill of spiritual planting, he is now a top-grade spiritual planting master and has completely taken over the affairs of the family's spiritual fields. There are 12 acres of spiritual fields in Funiu Mountain. The spiritual rice, medicinal herbs, and other spiritual objects planted there have harvested a total of 1,450 spiritual stones this year. The spiritual rice offered by the following vassal families has totaled 120 spiritual stones. After deducting the expenses, there is a surplus of 840 spiritual stones. Since the Supreme Elder established his foundation, the family has increased the planting of a lot of spiritual medicines. Now some spiritual medicines have begun to mature. In the future, the income from this aspect will increase every year. The spiritual field is actually the most stable source of income for the Song family over the years. It is also the most important area for the large and small immortal families in the world of immortal cultivation. In the past, when the Song family was still a small Qi refining family, they were afraid of attracting disasters, so they did not plant many spiritual medicines and did not dare to cultivate spiritual fields on a large scale. It was not until Song Qingming established his foundation, the family's spiritual veins were upgraded, and there was a second-level mountain protection formation to protect them. Then everyone slowly let go and began to increase their investment in this area. In addition to the 3 items mentioned above, the remaining demon hunting team managed by the 13th uncle and the general affairs managed by the eldest brother did not have much spiritual stone income, so they did not speak. Finally, Song Changfin, the clan leader in charge of the gold storage pavilion, combined everyone's accounts and gave a summary to everyone present. This year, including the treasury of gold that I manage, the family has earned a total of 2,733 spirit stones. Next, I want to talk about the expenditure. Now, excluding those hired from outside, the family has a total of 53 cultivators, including 2 foundation-building cultivators, 10 late-stage Qi refining cultivators, 29 mid-stage Qi refining cultivators, and 12 early-stage Qi refining cultivators. The annual salary of all the cultivators in the family is a total of 1,400 spirit stones, according to the specifications. The spirit stones needed to maintain several spirit vein formations are about 500 spirit stones a year. In addition to these two big heads, there are some miscellaneous expenses that add up to about 200 spirit stones. The total expenditure this year is about 2,100 spirit stones, that is to say, the surplus this year will be no more than 600 spirit stones. Hearing the news of this year's accounts, Song Qingming was also a little surprised. The accounts of previous years were not so ugly. He didn't expect that the number of cultivators in the family has increased in recent years, and the burden has also increased. If it weren't for the Funiu Mountain mine shares, which gave them 500 spiritual stones every year, the Song family would only have 100 spiritual stones left in their accounts. If they encountered a disaster year, they would probably lose a lot, not to mention the spiritual stones they wanted to use to cultivate new spiritual veins. The Song family's foundation was still too thin. Whether it was doing business in Qinghefeng or mining their own veins, they were still far behind other old foundation-building families. Chapter 255 Reform. After hearing the total account reported by Song Changfeng, Song Qingming gradually began to feel a little worried. This family meeting was a reminder to him. Although the Song family's current finances were not in a state of deficit, it would be easy to run into problems if they continued like this. There were more and more mortals and cultivators in the family, but there were only a few places that could earn spiritual stones. If they didn't find ways to increase revenue and reduce expenditure, the Song family's financial income would definitely decrease in the future, and they would fall into a vicious cycle. 6th Uncle, how many spirit stones are left in the account of the gold storage pavilion? Seeing Song Qingming, who had not spoken yet, suddenly asked. Song Changfeng hurriedly took out the account and continued, as of this year, there are a total of 2,246 spirit stones in the warehouse. Other magic tools, talismans and other spiritual objects add up to about 700 spirit stones, totaling nearly 2,900 spirit stones. The other people present did not react much when they heard this number. After all, in order to improve their spiritual veins, the Song family not only emptied out 100 years of accumulation in one go, but also all the cultivators did not receive their salaries for almost 3 years. It was not until 5 years ago that the family paid off all the owed salaries. It was already considered good to be able to save nearly 3,000 spirit stones over the years. In the entire scene, only Song Qingming, the family's supreme elder, felt that the family was still a little poor. After all, as a relatively wealthy foundation-building cultivator, he naturally looked at this matter differently from the people present. There were only so many spirit stones in the family treasury, which was indeed a little less for a foundation-building family, and they could not afford any trouble. Over the years, I have been receiving a salary from the family, but I have put most of my energy into cultivation. I have not been involved in family affairs, and I have indeed been a little slack. Now that the family has developed too fast, our foundation in all aspects has also shown many shortcomings. If we do not try to make some changes, I am afraid that there will be too many hidden dangers in the future. For example, in the field of immortal cultivation skills, I find that the gap between our Song family and others is a bit too big. The family should start to pay attention to this area from now on. I think it is better to directly make some incentive measures. In the future, whoever can improve the immortal cultivation skills to the first-class upper grade can automatically receive a part of the family subsidy, so as to encourage the family members to pay more attention to this aspect. Hearing Song Qingming's words, everyone present showed a trace of surprise. Now the Song family's finances are not on deficit, and all aspects are still in good condition. There is no big hidden danger. What is a bit strange is that although everyone present feels that Song Qingming's words seem to be a bit too much, no one speaks up to respond, as if everyone has long been accustomed to Song Qingming's arbitrary behavior. After all, the Song family can be what it is today. To put it bluntly, it is mainly the personal credit of the Supreme Elder, including Song Qingyu's foundation building is also the result of Song Qingming's strong support. Although most of the people present are his elders, they have always been quite convinced of Song Qingming from the bottom of their hearts. As long as the opinions put forward by his family's foundation building cultivator are not too outrageous, generally no one will speak out to oppose. Song Qingming naturally saw the reaction of the crowd, but he didn't want to explain too much. After all, he just proposed a policy to manage the family. Whether this policy will be beneficial or harmful after its implementation in the future, it will take time to verify. No matter how good he speaks now, not everyone will immediately understand and believe him. Regardless of whether this idea is good or not, no matter what the result is, you can try it first. If it doesn't work, you can stop it at any time, which will not have much impact on the current Song family. Song Qingming, who has made up his mind to make some changes recently, then proposed several ideas, all about the future development direction of the family, including accelerating the pace of cultivating new spiritual veins, building mortal towns, saving the spiritual stones consumed by some local formations, and increasing investment in the family's spiritual fields. As for the ideas that Song Qingming mentioned later, they were basically things that could be seen with the eyes. Everyone had no objection and spoke up to agree with his ideas. This meeting lasted for more than an hour, which took a lot longer than before. After the meeting was over, everyone left. Song Qingming and Song Changfeng discussed the specific matters for a while before slowly returning to their caves. As soon as he reached the top of the mountain, Song Qingming saw a beautiful figure looking up at the stars in the night. Have you stayed in the mountain for too long these years and want to go down the mountain? 2 years ago, Song Qingyu's mother passed away. After hesitating again and again, Song Qingming let her go down the mountain for a few days. As a result, Song Qingyu became more taciturn after returning. Seeing her standing here alone, he thought she was thinking of her mother again. Song Qingyu turned around, looked at Song Qingming and smiled. Seventh brother, since I established my foundation, I feel like I've gotten more and more used to being alone these past few years. It seems that everyone except you is no longer that important in my heart. After reaching a certain level of cultivation, you will always accept the loss calmly. No matter who it is, as long as they can't keep up with you in cultivation, they can only live in your memory in the end, Song Qingyu said. Then why don't you find someone who can keep up with you? Have you found it? I haven't, but you have. Song Qingyu looked at Song Qingming with her big eyes and showed a bright smile. I understand my own affairs, so don't worry about it. After Song Qingming glared at her lightly, he turned his head and looked at the deep sky in the distance. Seeing that he was about to perfunctorily pass it over, Song Qingyu suddenly couldn't help but said seriously, Seventh brother, sister-in-law has been very good to you for so many years. You also know that you have been leaving her in Qinghefeng like this. Isn't it too unfair to her? She likes to run a restaurant. I respect her. What's wrong with that? Song Qingming replied indifferently. It's true that you respect her, but what she likes, don't you really know? Song Qingyu's tone was full of doubt. Seventh brother, I can see that you also have feelings for sister-in-law. Even if your last name is Wang, do you really plan to be on guard against her like this for the rest of your life? When you disappeared, you had no news of the whole person. Qinghefeng was in such a mess, and the people of the Wang family came to pick her up, but she didn't go back, which is enough to show that she is a person of affection and righteousness. Sometimes I wonder, if you didn't give me this foundation building pill but left it to her, wouldn't you too have to face loneliness alone like this? After hearing this, Song Qingming looked at the sky for a long time without answering. Chapter 256, Original Heart. Song Qingming actually had very complicated feelings towards Wang Xian. At the beginning, he really just regarded Wang Xian as a pawn of the Wang family, kept some distance from her, and then found something she liked to do, so as not to offend the Wang family or her. As for Wang Xian, marrying into the Song family was indeed something she could not decide. At the beginning, when she was by Song Qingming's side, her main thoughts were also on earning spirit stones and practicing herself. But now the situation seems to have changed a little, far beyond Song Qingming's original expectations, so that Song Qingyu's words just now touched him a lot, and he was a little caught off guard and didn't know what to do. Should I follow my original intention or my current heart? After so many years, Wang Xian has also changed from a somewhat immature ordinary spirit chef to the owner of Xianfang Tower. The two of them have also experienced a lot of things, and Song Qingming seems to be a little accustomed to her existence. Now, whenever he passed by Qinghefeng or wanted to go on a long trip, Song Qingming would involuntarily go to Xianfang Lao for a full meal. He himself was a little confused, whether it was because he missed Wang Xian or because he missed the food she cooked too much. Sometimes, Song Qingming even thought that if Wang Xian didn't want to be with him anymore and took the initiative to ask for separation from him, he would agree even if it meant risking offending the Wang family. After all, he was no longer in the stage of building a foundation, and he had some capital to negotiate with the Wang family. Besides, The Song family and the Wang family had been completely tied to the same front for so many years, and would not collapse immediately because of the cooperation between the two families of Wang Xian. That time, after Song Qingming returned from the floating cloud mountains, he learned that she had not returned to the Wang family after being abandoned by the Song family, but had stayed in Qinghefang waiting for him to come back despite the danger. Song Qingming, who had been practicing for decades and had already been very indifferent, could not help but be moved by her. Since his mother passed away, Song Qingming had already felt the loneliness he had to face in the path of cultivation. Whether it was his childhood friends or his beloved relatives and friends, he would always lose them in the end, and he himself didn't know who could accompany him to the end. Now, in addition to this loneliness, Wang Xian's persistence made Song Qingming feel a different kind of satisfaction. In this world of cultivation full of dangers and only concerned with interests, it was also good for him to have a confidant who stayed quietly at home waiting for his return. It's not that he didn't feel Wang Xian's feelings for him, but he was always wandering in danger. Many times, he really didn't dare to think too much about emotional matters, for fear that he would get too much and lose too much easily. Song Qingming, who had not waited for a reply, looked at Song Qingming, who was still in a daze, sighed, shook his head, and returned to his cave, leaving him alone to face the cold moonlight. Since Song Qingming proposed the policy reform to encourage cultivation skills, it soon caused a stir within the Song family. Now, almost all cultivators from top to bottom have begun to pay attention to this aspect, and no longer put their own cultivation first. In the past, apart from a few top-grade talisman makers, the only two people in the Song family who could truly improve their cultivation skills to the top level were the second sister Song Qingwen and the sixth brother Song Qing. Even Song Qingming, who became a foundation-building cultivator, did not have a single cultivation skill that reached this level. When cultivators improve their cultivation skills, they can use this to consume low-level materials to earn more spirit stones. With spirit stones, they can buy cultivation pills, and then feed back to their own cultivation, which can form a virtuous circle for the cultivators themselves. Secondly, the family's spiritual fields have expanded, and there are more materials for making talismans or refining pills and tools. If the family can consume them, there is no need to spend a lot of effort to bring these low-level materials to the market to sell them at a low price. As long as the spiritual objects you make are of qualified quality, there will be no shortage of buyers when they are sold in the market. The family's shops can also earn some spiritual stones by helping to sell them back and forth. The family can also make a little money here and increase the family's internal income. As the initiator of this opinion, Song Qingming naturally has to lead the gentry. A few years ago, his talisman making level had reached level 2, but because level 2 talisman making materials were difficult to find, the Song family shop in Qinghefang could only send Song Qingming a set of level 2 talisman making materials every few months. Song Qingming did not disclose his identity as a level 2 talisman maker to the public, and the level 2 talismans he made were always kept on him and not sold in the market. In order to support the business of the family's talisman shop, Song Qingming directly took out 5 second-level talismans and dozens of first-level high-quality talismans and placed them in his own shop. Doing so is almost equivalent to telling others that the Song family is likely to have a second-level talisman maker, which will definitely cause a sensation in the entire Qing County. The second sister Song Qingwen is responsible for alchemy, and Song Qingming is personally responsible for talisman making. These two things are still somewhat famous in Qinghefang and are not inferior to the goods of other families. Only the refining of instruments is still a bit difficult for the Song family. There are quite a few people in the Song family who can refine instruments, more than a dozen people, but the level of refining instruments is generally not high. Only the clan leader Song Changfang can refine high-quality instruments. Song Changfang already bears the heavy responsibility of the clan leader, and the injury he suffered when he built his foundation has not yet fully recovered. He has almost no time to spend on refining instruments. The level of other refiners is too low, and most of the instruments they refine are of average level. Putting them in the shop of Qinghefang, naturally few people will come to buy them. Since the reform of the system, everyone has their own goals. Most of the immortal cultivation skills of the entire Song family have improved a lot. Even Song Changfang has a few more weapon refiners who often come to practice with him. As the family's foundation building elder, Song Qingming naturally has to take the lead. Since the release of this decree, her talisman making skills have also begun to improve rapidly. As a foundation-building cultivator, it is still relatively fast to learn the first-level immortal cultivation skills. Under the guidance of Song Qingming, a second-level talisman maker, she quickly successfully upgraded her talisman-making skills to the first-level upper grade. What made Song Qingming the happiest was that his 8th brother Song Qingjin and 14th sister Song Qingxi had broken through to the upper grade of formation and weapon refining respectively. Both of them originally had some talent in immortal cultivation skills. This time, under the encouragement of the family, the two of them lived up to expectations and successfully broke through their own immortal cultivation skills. In order to reward them and set an example for other clansmen, Song Qingming also specially paid out of his own pocket to reward them each with a medium-grade spirit stone, helping them to break through their own cultivation to the late stage of Qi refining. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 257, Vassal. Just when the institutional reform of the Song family was in full swing, two strange Qi refining cultivators suddenly came to visit Funiu Mountain one day. These two people were in the late Qi refining stage, both surnamed Su, and were cousins within the 5th mourning period. They came from the foot of Qingming Mountain of Xiaoyao sect. The purpose of this trip was to discuss something with the Song family. Originally, it was enough for Song Changfeng, the patriarch, to come out to receive two Qi refining cultivators like this, but the two also brought a letter to Song Qingming. Looking at the 3 words Su Ziyan written on the envelope, Song Changfeng immediately knew the identity of the writer. When he went to Yangshanfang to deliver spiritual stones to Song Qingming, he had heard Song Qingming mention Su Ziyan. Later, when Song Qingming successfully built his foundation and came back, he also knew that Su Ziyan helped him a lot when Song Qingming built his foundation. Since the other party had already taken out Su Ziyan's letter, Song Changfeng naturally wanted to show the sincerity of the Song family, and quickly sent someone to invite Song Qingming over. Fellow Taoist Su mentioned in the letter that you two want to find a place to stay in Qing County. After reading Su Ziyan's letter, Song Qingming immediately knew the purpose of the two people's visit. According to Su Ziyan's letter, the ancestors of these two people were the same senior brothers of her master Liu Xingfeng, that is, the descendants of Su Ziyan's direct master. Their experiences are almost the same as those of the Song family. After the ancestor of the family suddenly died, they had no backers and had been excluded in Qingming Mountain. This is why they chose to leave Qingming Mountain and find another place to live, just like the ancestors of the Song family. Liu Xingfeng's senior brother was originally a veteran cultivator who had been building the foundation for many years in the Xiaoyao sect. When Liu Xingfeng was young, and had not yet built the foundation, this senior brother Su took good care of her. He was different from most hard-working cultivators. He was more greedy for worldly pleasures. After building the foundation, he soon married many wives and concubines around him. Over the past 100 years, he has left many descendants. During the monster turmoil more than 20 years ago, Liu Xingfeng's senior brother had bad luck and died in the battle to support Yanfang. After his death, although the descendants of the Su family received a good pension from the sect, it was a pity that none of them had outstanding talents and had the hope of building a foundation. Their lives were getting worse and worse, so they had the idea of leaving Qingming Mountain. Half a year ago, they asked Liu Xingfeng for help and wanted to find a relationship with her to help take care of it. Liu Xingfeng agreed to repay her senior brother's kindness to her. It happened that Su Ziyan was also in Liu Xingfeng's cave at that time, so she did a favor to help her master Liu Xingfeng organize this matter. She wrote a letter on the spot and gave it to Su Changrong and others, asking them to come to Qing County to find Song Qingming. Senior Song, please give us a convenience for the sake of Senior Su. As long as you don't dislike me, my Su family is willing to be a vassal of the Song family and obey your orders. The old man who spoke was the patriarch of this generation of the Su family, named Su Changrong. Alice, fellow Taoist Su and I are close friends. Since it is something she has entrusted me with, I will not refuse. Don't worry, I will arrange someone to accompany you two to visit the surrounding area tomorrow to see if there is any sacred mountain suitable for you to settle down. If you need any help, please feel free to ask me. What Su Changrong and the others asked for was not a difficult matter for Song Qingming. There were still many unknown sacred mountains in the area surrounding the Song family. As long as they were interested in them, it would be fine. On the contrary, having one more vassal family under the wing would be a beneficial thing for the Song family in the long run. Song Qingming was even hoping that the Song family would have a few more immortal cultivation families under its wing. The Song family now has only more than 50 cultivators. Once they encounter some wars and need to summon a large number of cultivators, they will be a little stretched. The last time they went to Yingchao Ridge to suppress bandits, Song Qingming almost pulled all the late-stage Qi refining cultivators that could be dispatched to barely gather 10 people. Compared with other foundation-building families, their foundation in this regard is indeed too shallow. The northeastern area of Qing County controlled by the Song family is close to Funiu Mountain. It is considered a relatively remote corner of Qing County. In total, there are only 5 immortal cultivation families under their tutelage. Compared with the most powerful Wang family in Qing County, there are more than 20 vassal immortal families under their tutelage. They can easily gather a team of dozens of late-stage Qi refining cultivators. The Song family is really far behind in this regard. Thank you for your care, Senior. This talisman was passed down by my ancestor in the past. Since we have entered the Song family today, this talisman will be regarded as a thank you gift to the Senior, Su Chengrong said while smiling and raising his hand to present a second-level low-grade talisman to Song Qingming. Song Qingming did not refuse this, he just reached out and took it and looked at it, and found that it was a rare defensive talisman, which should be worth 300 spiritual stones on the market, and it was still useful to him, so he put it directly into the storage bag. It was normal for the Su family, who had just arrived and joined the Song family, to give Song Qingming a heavier gift. After all, when they arrived here in the future, they would rely on the Song family to take care of them, so it was better to establish a good relationship in advance. Although Song Qingming would give Su Zilliant some face now and would not deliberately embarrass them, it was hard to say what would happen in the future. Once they left Guiyang Mountain, they would completely break off their relationship with Zilao sect, and Liu Xingfang would naturally be unlikely to speak for them all the time. Just like the ancestors of the Song family, they still had to rely on themselves in the future. After getting Song Qingming's approval, Su Chengrong and his brother Song Qingshi went around the next morning. They were determined to leave Guiyang Mountain and were very cautious about the location of their family. After going around for several times, Su Chengrong and his friends finally chose a sacred mountain hundreds of miles away from Funiu as the future residence of the Su family. Although the spiritual vein level of this sacred mountain is not as good as the Funiu of the Song family, it has a very good terrain. There are not only vast flat lands for farming, but also a river for mortals to survive. It can accommodate tens of thousands of mortals, which is not much worse than the current Funiu. Although the population of the Su family is not large now, there are only 8 cultivators and less than 1,000 mortals, but in the future, as long as they take root in Qing County and have a wider living space, the population of the family will gradually increase. By then, they will look like a family of immortals. With the Song family as an example, the Su family may also be able to produce a talent like Song Qingming in the future, who will lead everyone on the road to reviving the family's glory. Chapter 258 Wutuang Mountain. 3 days later, at the foot of a 100-foot-high sacred mountain on the east side of Mount Funiu, Su Chengrong looked at Song Qingyu, who was standing in front and commanding everyone, and couldn't help showing a hint of surprise in his heart. When they first arrived in Qing County to inquire about the Song family, they learned that the Song family only had Song Qingming, a foundation-building cultivator. They didn't expect that there was another foundation-building cultivator hidden in the Song family. It seems that the Song family is not as simple as they see on the surface. However, for them, the future main family will be stronger, which will definitely be more beneficial to them at present. For this, Su Chengrong's heart is more determined about their original choice. The 2 foundation-building cultivators of the Song family are currently very young, and they should not have to worry about their own safety within 100 years. As long as the Su family can take root smoothly, they can develop stably for another 100 years and become a real immortal family. A few days ago, after learning that Su Chengrong had chosen a place to settle down, Song Qingming directly ordered to gather more than a dozen Song family cultivators and asked Song Qingyu to lead the team here in person to help Su Chengrong clean up this sacred mountain first. In the territory of Qing County, there are still many ownerless sacred mountains in the outer areas. Most of these sacred mountains are still occupied by monsters. If the Su family wants to settle down here, they must first clear the monsters on this mountain. This mountain is a top-grade spiritual vein, and there are naturally many monsters on it. Although there are no high-level monsters nearby, it is difficult for Su Chengrong and his 2 men to clear the entire sacred mountain. Since they have already received the gift of meeting, Song Qingming certainly can't stand idly by, so the Song family took action this time. Song Qingming deliberately arranged for Song Qingyu to lead the team. On the one hand, it was to show the strength of the Song family in front of Su Chengrong and his men, and on the other hand, it was also intended to let Song Qingyu go down the mountain to exercise, instead of practicing in seclusion in the cave. Begin the action. With Song Qingyu's order, more than a dozen cultivators of the Song family's law enforcement team and Su Chengrong and his 2 men rushed directly to this sacred mountain from several directions. Song Qingyu rushed to the front of the team with a Taoguang sword under her feet. The second-level flying sword under her feet was once used by Song Qingming. After Song Qingyu established her foundation, Song Qingming gave it to her as a spiritual object. Taoguang sword is a water-attributed flying sword that just matches the attributes of Song Qingyu's skills. Now in her hands, it has exerted greater power. On the hillside, a confused low-level deer monster was cut in half by several water wave-shaped sharp blades sent by Song Qingyu before it could react. This entire spiritual mountain is full of first-level monsters. Facing Song Qingyu, a foundation-building cultivator, it is naturally not enough. Under the flying of Taoguang's sword, less than half an hour later, the remaining monsters on the mountain began to flee from here. The Song family law enforcement team often goes out to hunt monsters under the leadership of the elder Song Changshan. They are also very experienced in dealing with these monsters. After the whole battle, only 2 people were slightly injured. The crowd easily occupied this mountain without much effort. Song Qingyu led his men to search the mountain and unexpectedly found a top-grade spiritual fruit tree. He wanted his 6th brother Song King to transplant it back to Funiu, but when Su Chengrong saw the spiritual fruit tree, he took out 100 spiritual stones and insisted on leaving the tree. Seeing that the old man was very persistent, Song Qingyu didn't want to offend him on their first meeting, so he simply sold it to him as a favor and accepted the spiritual stones. A top-grade spiritual fruit tree is worth almost the same as 100 spiritual stones in the market, but if you want to cultivate it on your own spiritual mountain, it will take at least several decades. The Su family currently does not have a top-grade spiritual plant master, and it is difficult to transplant it by buying one in the market. Having a ready-made spiritual fruit tree here is definitely more valuable to them than 100 spiritual stones. After negotiating the matter, Song Qingyu handed over the entire spiritual mountain to the 2 members of the Su family, and asked the law enforcement team to collect the corpses of the monsters on the mountain and return to Funiu. This operation obtained so many monster corpses, plus the 100 spiritual stones obtained from the spiritual fruit tree. The Song family members' work was not in vain, and everyone's face was full of joy. However, the main reason why it was so smooth was because of Song Qingyu. Without her, a foundation-building cultivator, the battle would not have ended so smoothly, and someone might have been unlucky enough to lose his life here. After the Su family occupied this sacred mountain, because there were many green sycamore trees on the mountain, they named this mountain Wutong Mountain. Since then, the Su family of Wutong Mountain has become the 6th vassal family of the Song family. A few months later, the Su family hired a large flying boat that could carry thousands of people in Guiyang Mountain, and transported all the cultivators and mortals in their family directly to Qing County. In order to help the Su family settle down earlier, at the request of Su Chengrong, Song Qingming also arranged some mortals of the Song family to help them build houses and cultivate good fields. The sudden arrival of the Su family naturally aroused the vigilance of the surrounding Xiuxin families. Fortunately, Su Chengrong, the head of the Su family, was quite smooth in dealing with people. Not long after, he slowly integrated into Qing County with the help of the Song family. After handling this matter, Song Qingming received another good news. The 3rd mortal town of the family was finally completed in the past few days. This town is called Gushi Town, located in the southern part of Funiu Mountain, closer to Mujiao Town. Nowadays, the mortals of the Song family near Funiu Mountain are developing rapidly. In addition to the migration back from Lingyuan Mountain, there are nearly 60,000 people. In Song Qingming's eyes, these mortals are all the foundation of the family. Matters related to their survival cannot be sloppy. After Song Qingming learned the news that Gushi Town was built, he and Song Qingyu secretly went down the mountain, walked around the town in person. and felt the living conditions of the mortals under the mountain, Xiaoyao sect, in a somewhat remote cave on Guiyang Mountain. Song kings, who looked vicissitudes of life, and Song Zinai were sitting on both sides of the tea tray. What? You said King Ayu successfully built her foundation. Hearing the news, Song Zinai told him. Song King's face was a little absent-minded. It seems that she had already built her foundation 2 years ago. Uncle Qi and the others have been hiding it from everyone. I only found out about it a few months ago. Seeing this uncle's reaction so big, Song Zinai was also a little surprised. Song King held his forehead inside, and smiled bitterly. You came to the mountain late, so you may not know some things. The family actually decided that she would come to Xiaoyao sect later. I took the initiative to fight for this opportunity. In order to build a foundation, I gave up the family and came to Xiaoyao sect, but I still failed. King Ai lost this opportunity and stayed in the family. Now she has successfully built her foundation. It seems that things are really unpredictable and God's will is hard to predict. Hearing Song King's words, Song Zinai's face was also stunned. When he went up the mountain, Song King had already come to Xiaoyao sect naturally. He didn't know much about the past of this uncle. It was the first time that Song Zinai knew about this past of the family. Chapter 259 Opportunity. After seeing off his nephew Song Zinai, Song King just wanted to take on some sect tasks, so he went directly to the General Affairs Hall not far away. Just as he walked to the door, Song King suddenly heard a familiar voice from afar. Brother Song, I haven't seen you for a while. How are you these days? Oh, it's Brother Du. You and I are both in the same boat. How can you not know whether this day is good or not? Song King responded with a smile. The one who greeted Song King was Du Yuchen, who had carried out 2 missions with him many years ago. Like Song King, Du Yuchen also failed in his foundation building a few years ago. The two of them can indeed be regarded as people who are in the same boat now. Although they were from the same hometown in Xiaoyao sect, their relationship before was only average. It was not until the failure of their foundation building in these years that Song King and Du Yuchen both became frustrated people, and their relationship suddenly became closer. Haha. Senior brother Song is right. Senior brother came to the General Affairs Hall today to exchange for elixirs, Du Yuchen asked tentatively with a calm face. Song King shook his head and said, I have been practicing for a long time, but I am not as interested as you. I came to the General Affairs Hall this time just to take on some tasks and see if I can return the merits I borrowed from my master earlier. Hearing Song King's words, Du Yuchen's eyes lit up and he suddenly realized, Senior brother Song, it seems that Master Lu still thinks highly of you. There may still be a glimmer of hope for your path. The merits that Song King borrowed from his master were naturally the ones he owed when he exchanged for the foundation building pill, otherwise he would not have not paid it back until now. According to the Xiaoyao sect's rules, the sect's merits for exchanging spiritual objects can be borrowed and returned to each other. All disciples can borrow part of the merits from others or their teachers when exchanging for the foundation building pill. When Song King was able to exchange for the foundation building pill, the Song family did not help him much. It was mainly because of his master Lu Qian who helped and supported him. Compared to Song King's master who helped him a lot, Du Yuchen's master basically didn't care about him. He was able to get the foundation building pill because of the promise he got when he betrayed his family and the Liu family. This made him still feel a little bit upset. For so many years, he had always been careful to serve his master, but his master looked down on him. When he needed someone to work, he would treat him like a servant and never share any benefits with him. He hated this cheap master in his heart. To be honest, this is all my own fault. I am penniless now, and I haven't even paid off the good deeds I owed. Even if the master really wants to help me, it's impossible. We are in this situation now and don't have any big backers. The sect will not give us another chance. Unless there is an opportunity that defies heaven, I'm afraid there will be no hope of building a foundation in this life. Brother, don't be too pessimistic. As for opportunities, I do have one here, but it's a little dangerous. Brother Song, are you interested in listening? Du Yuchen squinted his eyes and said with a smile. If there's any opportunity, please tell me clearly, Brother Du. It's not convenient to talk here. Brother, how about you follow me to the cave to talk first? Du Yuchen said as he began to walk out. Outside the Fairy Phoenix Tower in Qinghefang, Song Qingming looked up at the sign of the restaurant. He remembered that it seemed to be the name he had chosen for Wang Xian. Time flies, and nearly 20 years have passed. 20 years have passed, and the restaurant is still the same, but the people coming and going have changed a lot. He himself has also transformed from a timid person who has just established his foundation to an ancestor of the Song family who can truly decide the fate of many people. As soon as he entered the restaurant, Song Qingming ran into a young man in white clothes who was serving dishes to the guests in the hall. After seeing his face clearly, Song Qingming frowned slightly with a puzzled look on his face. When the young man in white saw Song Qingming, he was immediately surprised. He was stunned for a moment before he said, "Seventh uncle, when did you come to Qinghefang? Why didn't you hear your second aunt mention this?" Looking at Song Xinhu who looked a little flustered, Song Qingming asked seriously, "Do I need to report to you when I come here? Did I come to Qinghefang to help your second aunt run the store? Why did you come here to be a waiter?" "No, not a waiter. My second aunt always taught me to visit the family store more often and talk to the people working below so that I can better understand the operation of the store. Isn't this restaurant also our family business? I happened to have time today, so I came here to take a look. I saw that the store was a little busy just now, so I wanted to help them. You seem to be quite skilled in serving the dishes. You learn quite quickly." Song Qingming nodded calmly, then left Song Xinhu and went directly to the private room on the second floor. After Song Qingming left, Song Xinhu raised his head with a sense of relief, quickly dropped the things in his hands, and ran out of Xianfang Tower in a panic. Wang Xian, who had just heard the sound and came out of the kitchen, shook her head helplessly after seeing this scene. After eating and drinking, Song Qingming admired Wang Xian, who was sitting beside him and concentrating on making tea with a smile on his face. For some reason, he liked Wang Xian's serious look. "Is Qingyu still in the mountain? It's been so long, why doesn't she miss me at all and come to Qinghefang to visit?" Seeing that Song Qingming was staring at her, Wang Xian felt a little embarrassed, so she mentioned Song Qingyu, whom she hadn't seen for a long time. "Qingyu, she has already established her foundation." Upon hearing this, Wang Xian was stunned for a moment, then smiled and said, "When did this happen? Why didn't you tell me? Such a great thing. As your sister-in-law, I have to prepare a gift to congratulate her. It's been a while. I ordered that the news of her establishing her foundation should not be spread outside. Many people in the family don't know about it," Song Qingming said slowly. "With her talent and your support, it's not surprising that she can establish her foundation. She hasn't shown up for so long, and the people from other families should have guessed it soon. Wang Xian is a business person, and her brain works very quickly. She can analyze the loopholes of things at once." Song Qingming chuckled and said, "I didn't intend to keep it a secret. The main reason why she hasn't come down the mountain recently is that she has become much more restrained in recent years, and it's not entirely because I don't let her go out." Wang Xian understood this very well. Song Qingyu was a person who couldn't sit still back then. He often sneaked to Qinghefang to find her. In the Song family, except Song Qingming, few people could control him. Chapter 260 Gift. Just as the two were enjoying tea in Xianfang Tower, Li Quan suddenly heard a voice from outside, saying that Wang Shengyu, the ancestor of the Wang family, had arrived in Xianfang Tower and had come to visit him specially. After hearing the news, Song Qingming and Wang Xian looked at each other and found that they were both surprised, so they hurried down from the second floor to greet him. The reason why Wang Shengyu appeared here so quickly was that the monks on duty in Qinghefang had become members of the Wang family, and Wang Shengyu had been stationed in Qinghefang for several years. A foundation-building monk like Song Qingming came to Qinghefang, and naturally he could not hide it from the Fangshi guards, and soon someone reported the matter to Wang Shengyu. "I was thinking of visiting you with Xian later. I didn't expect that fellow Taoist Wang would come here. We are really flattered, fellow Taoist Song. You only came to Qinghefang to see Xian. If I don't take the initiative to come, I'm afraid you will forget to see me later." Wang Shengyu didn't believe Song Qingming's polite words. In order to conceal Song Qingyu's foundation building, Song Qingming rarely went out to meet people in recent years. Except for occasionally coming to Qinghefang for a bite, he spent most of his time on Funiu Mountain. Every time he came to Qinghefang, Song Qingming also tried his best to avoid dealing with people. At most, he would leave after eating a meal. Today, Wang Shengyu came to block the door in person because he sent people to invite Song Qingming several times before, but he was late to Xianfang Tower several times, and Song Qingming had already left after eating and drinking. "Brother Taoist Wang, You are too polite. Qingming is a junior after all, so how dare I be so disrespectful? Please come in quickly. I must have a good chat with you today. Wang Xian asked Li Quan to tidy up the private room on the second floor, and then accompanied the two of them into the room. As soon as he sat down, Wang Shengaiyu took a sip of tea, then suddenly took out a yellow second-level spiritual fruit and placed it on the table, smiling at Song Qingming. I heard a few days ago that fellow Taoist Qingming has already established his foundation. The Song family now has another talented person. It's really a blessing for Qing County. This pine spiritual fruit was just picked this year. It is quite beneficial for cultivators in the early stages of foundation building. Just consider it as a gift from my Wang family. I hope fellow Taoists won't dislike it. Upon hearing this, Song Qingming couldn't help but glance at Wang Xian. It was just as she said. It seemed that the Wang family had known about this for a long time. Song Qingming was not too surprised by this. After all, this kind of thing was indeed very difficult to conceal completely. At the beginning, the Gao family also hid Gao Yubei very deeply, but they failed to conceal it from the Wang family. In this regard, Song Qingming was mentally prepared. Fortunately, Wang Shengaiyu had already come when Wang Xian just learned the news. Otherwise, if Wang Shengaiyu went to Funiu Mountain to visit again a few days later and mentioned the matter, Song Qingming might really suspect that Wang Xian had deliberately leaked the matter to her. Wang Xian was also relieved when she heard her ancestors' words. Although she had reported some news about the Song family to the Wang family over the years, they were all unimportant things on the surface. The Wang family would not have any impact on the Song family if they knew the news. Song Qingming also knew this. After all, although Wang Xian was now Song Qingming's Taoist partner, everyone with a discerning eye knew that Song Qingming had kept her in Qinghofeng for these years and did not bring her back to Funiu Mountain. He was on guard against her. It was impossible for her to know in advance about such a major event that affected the rise and fall of the Song family. Fellow Taoist Wang, you are too polite. My sister is blessed by heaven for being able to build a foundation. How dare I accept such a great gift from you? Please take it back quickly, Alice. How can we take back the things that our Wang family has given away? Fellow Taoist Song, please don't refuse it anymore, otherwise you will be disdaining my gift. Wang Shengaiyu saw that Song Qingming was still being polite, and her face suddenly changed and she showed a hint of displeasure. Seeing this, Song Qingming was no longer polite and took the spiritual fruit into his bag. This second-level spiritual fruit was the fruit of a second-level spiritual fruit tree of the Wang family. After taking it, it can increase the mana of the foundation-building cultivator. It is also a rare spiritual object. Song Qingming has never seen this thing in Qinghofeng. It is estimated that they keep it for themselves or give it to others at critical moments. This second-level spiritual fruit is worth at least nearly 200 spiritual stones, which is a good gift. Compared with the picture given to him by the Su family, this spiritual fruit is obviously more attractive. After accepting the item, Wang Shengaiyu said, Fellow Taoist Song, I wonder where you got this foundation-building pill. Can you tell me something? It was a chance encounter. A few years ago, I exchanged some spiritual objects for a top-grade spiritual stone in Qinghofeng. Later, I heard that there was a foundation-building pill in Bailong Mountain, so I took this item and ventured to Bailong Mountain to try my luck. By chance, I exchanged it with fellow Taoist Lin for a foundation-building pill. Seeing Wang Shengaiyu asking about this directly, Song Qingming, who had already prepared, immediately explained the reason truthfully. Wang Shengaiyu came up to give a gift like this. It must be for this matter, and it would be difficult for Song Qingming to deliberately conceal this matter. The exchange of high-grade spirit stones happened in Qinghofeng. The Wang family would soon find out if they put in some effort to investigate. It was also not a big secret that Song Qingming had suddenly gone on a long trip to Bailong Mountain a few years ago. Wang Shengaiyu even knew about Song Qingaiyu's foundation building, so it would not be difficult for him to find out Song Qingming's whereabouts. The reason why Song Qingming dared to say it so directly was because he was not worried that the Wang family would find something wrong. After the news of the foundation building pill came out in Bailong Mountain, many people in Qinghofeng also spread the news. However, everyone who discussed the matter basically just talked about it, and did not know the specific credibility of the matter. Few people dared to go to that very dangerous place to see it with their own eyes like Song Qingming. As expected, Wang Shengaiyu, who came here for this matter, slowly became disappointed after hearing this answer. Although the Wang family also needed foundation building pills, they did not have a good impression of a dangerous place like Bailong Mountain. Unless it was absolutely necessary, the Wang family would not place their hopes for foundation building on a place like Bailong Mountain. Of course, she did not completely believe Song Qingming's one-sided words now, and she would definitely have to find out the truth of this matter after returning. As a foundation-building immortal family that has lasted for thousands of years under the Xiaoyao sect, the Wang family's foundation is naturally stronger than most immortal cultivation families. Every few decades, there are enough spiritual objects to exchange for foundation-building pills. This is also the secret of the Wang family's long-term prosperity. Song Qingming guessed that they should be able to cultivate another foundation-building cultivator in no time. Wang Shengaiyu and Song Qingming talked a lot about cultivation techniques. It was not until an hour later that Wang Shengaiyu said goodbye and left here. Before leaving, Wang Shengaiyu also specifically told Wang Xiaoyun not to manage the restaurant anymore, and to stay close to Song Qingming, so that she would have more hope of building a foundation. Wang Xiaoyun's current cultivation is almost at the 9th level of Qi Refining. The temptation of building a foundation is still very great for her now. However, although she has been married to the Song family for more than 10 years, Song Qingming's attitude towards her is still a little unclear. She has no confidence that Song Qingming will worry about her foundation building in the future. However, Wang Xiaoyun has been practicing Taoism for so many years, and she has already let go of these things. Whether it is the Wang family or the Song family, she does not have too much hope. Although Song Qingming has taken care of her for so many years, Wang Xiaoyun mainly relies on herself to practice step by step to reach this level. After seeing Wang Shengaiyu off, Wang Xiaoyun lowered her head and slowly said, "How about you wait a little longer? I will go to the market to see if there are any suitable gifts, and you can bring them back to Qingming as my gift, okay? I'll go shopping with you." Chapter 261 Habit. In the past few years, the reputation of King Hufeng has dropped drastically under the Lu family. Later, even Lu Yuanfeng, who was stationed in the market, could not bear it. He not only punished many monks of the Lu family, but also scolded Lu Xing, which made them restrain themselves. In the past 2 years, after the Wang family took over and made a big rectification, they restored a lot of their previous reputation. The business of the market has also gradually improved. In addition, Xiaoyao sect dug up the Zhengjin vein in Funiu Mountain and sent dozens of monks to garrison in Qing County, which indirectly increased the popularity of King Hufeng. Wang Xiaoyun has been doing business in King Hufeng for decades and is very familiar with most of the shops here. After the two of them visited several shops together, Wang Xiaoyun spent 50 spirit stones to buy an exquisite talisman pen as a gift at the suggestion of Song Qingming. Song Qingming has just improved her talisman making skills and is in need of a suitable talisman pen. Using this as a gift can be said to be urgent for her. Wang Xiaoyun generously paid the spiritual stones and had the talisman pen carefully packaged before handing it to Song Qingming. Although this gift is not expensive, it is also my heartfelt gift. Please tell Qingming not to despise it. It is not easy for a small Qi refining cultivator like me to earn some spiritual stones. Song Qingming smiled and said nothing more. He took the talisman pen and put it into his storage bag. On the way back, Song Qingming seemed to suddenly think of something and asked Wang Xiaoyun again, "Does Xinhu come to your place often recently?" "Yes, he comes here every few days when he is free. This child is quite obedient, but his talent is average and his Dao heart is a little lacking." Hearing Song Qingming's question, Wang Xiaoyun didn't think much about it and replied calmly, "It's always good for young people to want to learn more. Since he came here for you, you should take the time to teach him more when you have time, Alice. You really can't see at all. He didn't come to Xianfang Tower for me. If it's not you, then who is he going for?" Song Qingming asked with a puzzled look. Wang Xiaoyun narrowed her eyes and said meaningfully, "My Xianfang Tower is just a small piece of land." "Think about who he's going for." Song Qingming was stunned for a moment, then smiled and shook his head. "This kid, I really underestimated him." The two chatted for only a moment, and they had already walked back to the outside of Xianfang Tower. "It's still early. Do you want to go in and sit for a while?" "Forget it. I'm already full of food and wine, so I won't delay your business." Wang Xiaoyun nodded, turned around and was about to walk into Xianfang Tower, but was stopped by a word. "Xiaoyun, do you want to go back to Funiu Mountain with me?" Wang Xiaoyun couldn't help but tremble slightly when she heard Song Qingming offered to take her back to Funiu Mountain. The two had been Taoist couples for 20 years, and Song Qingming's attitude towards her had always been somewhat alienated. Today's sudden and direct invitation was really beyond her expectations. When the two got married, everyone knew that she was just a pawn used by the family to win over the Song family. Wang Xian also knew her position very well, and she had tried her best to play this role over the years. However, as time went by, the two gradually became familiar with each other's existence, and indeed slowly added some things that they had not thought of at the beginning. Just like Song Qingming got used to sneaking to Xianfang Tower to have a feast over the years, Wang Xian had been conscientious and tried to please Song Qingming with food from the beginning, and it gradually became a habit of her. Every time she developed a new recipe in Xianfang Tower, she began to look forward to when Song Qingming would come. Over the years, the two of them have slowly gotten used to each other's existence, but they still lack confidence in each other. They always feel that it's good for them to maintain the status quo. I'm going to Funiu. What should I do with Xianfang Lao? If you are willing to go to Funiu, I'll ask my second sister to find a way to arrange for someone to take over Xianfang Lao. If it doesn't work, just close it. Anyway, the family doesn't need this shop, and it can also make some income every month if it is rented to others. Hearing Wang Xian's question, Song Qingming quickly said an idea that he had thought about several times in his mind. After all, I opened Xianfang Lao with my own hands. I'm a little unwilling to close it like this. Why don't I take care of it first, and when I find the right person, I'll go back to Funiu with you. Okay, I'll talk to my second sister in a few days and ask her to look for candidates to see who in the family is suitable to take over Xianfang Lao. Song Qingming smiled and nodded to Wang Xian, turned around and slowly left here. At the foot of Qi Mountain in Xiaoyao sect, Song Qing's, who was preparing to go on a long journey, was explaining the matter to his nephew Song Xinyu. Xinyu, I'm going on a long journey this time, and it's estimated to take several months. The gold and silver grass in my cave is about to mature. If you have time, come and help take care of it. If the spiritual medicine is mature and I haven't come back yet, just pick it first, so as not to miss the time and affect its spirituality. Don't worry, third uncle. Although I'm not a top-grade spiritual plant master, I can still see this. I estimate that the spiritual medicine is not yet mature, and you should be able to come back. Nephew here still has some doubts about cultivation, waiting for your help to answer them. Seeing that this nephew always likes to ask about matters of cultivation, Song Qingming shook his head and said, Uncle Wang thinks highly of you. If you have any questions about cultivation, it's not easy to ask him directly. He can't even refuse you, his close disciple. The master has many disciples, and I'm just the least talented one. Every time in front of him, I always behave not as freely as other brothers. I'm afraid that asking too many questions will annoy the master. Song Xinyu curled his lips and exhaled with some embarrassment. You should learn more from your master. How can you always rely on outsiders? What if I can't come back this time? Where can you find someone to teach you? Song Qingming sighed and advised bitterly. Hearing what he said, Song Xinyu asked anxiously, Uncle San, where are you going this time? Is the mission dangerous? It's always dangerous to go out on a mission. Don't think too much. Remember to take good care of this pearl spirit medicine for me and wait for me to come back. Song Qingming reached out and patted Song Xinyu on the shoulder, and strode forward. Seeing Song Qingming's firm eyes, Song Xinyu nodded, and didn't say anything more. He watched the elder who took good care of him slowly move away from his sight. Chapter 262, Three-Element Thunder Talisman. Half a year later, in Song Qingming's cave in Funiu Mountain. Looking at the pile of materials on the table, Song Qingming's face rarely showed a trace of greedy joy. A few months ago, he had taken the initiative to send several second-level low-grade talismans to the Song family shop in Qinghefang. Soon, almost the entire Qinghefang was speculating that the Song family should have a second-level talisman maker. Not long after, some people took the initiative to bring materials to the door and asked if the Song family could help make second-level talismans. However, the talisman-making materials in the hands of these monks who took the initiative to find the door were all relatively rare talismans. If the other party provided the materials and you were responsible for processing and making them, you could charge a part of the commission if you succeeded. Once you failed, even if the other party did not pursue the matter, you would have worked in vain for more than 10 days. Drawing a strange talisman that you are not familiar with would definitely not be too high. Moreover, making a second-level talisman is also a time-consuming thing. Putting all your energy on this will easily delay the monk's own practice. Generally speaking, a second-level talisman maker is unlikely to easily agree to such a request. Song Qingming is not the only second-level talisman maker in Qing County. The Wang family and the Gao family each have one, and there is also a gifted person in the vassal refining family of the Gao family. However, the second-level talisman makers of these families all know that they are familiar with the spiritual talisman business, and they directly refuse these unfamiliar spiritual talisman materials. The reason why Song Qingming did this abnormally was because he had something that happened to make up for this major shortcoming. After knowing this news, he asked Song Qingwen and others to start collecting these second-level talisman materials that came to the door. As long as you bring them to the door, the Song family will not refuse anyone and directly send them to Song Qingming and Funiu. In a few months, his talisman-making skills began to improve by leaps and bounds. When he went to various major markets to look for talisman materials, he ran around and collected only so much. Compared with a continuous and active delivery to the door, it is really a bit different. If he had known that he could easily get these materials sitting at home, he really shouldn't have deliberately concealed his identity as a second-level talisman maker. The only downside is that he has relatively few talisman-making books. He has never seen some of the talisman-making materials he has brought, and he doesn't know what kind of talismans to make, so he can only return them intact. Even so, Song Qingming's current talisman-making materials are already very saturated, and he has been so busy for several months that he has not left the cave. With the help of the incomplete map, Song Qingming can almost shorten the time of making talismans by 80%. What others need more than 10 days to complete, only 2 or 3 days for him. It is precisely because of this help that Song Qingming has the confidence to collect a large number of second-level materials that come to him on their own initiative. Today, Song Qingming is waving a black talisman pen in his hand in the cave as usual. This talisman pen was bought by him in the market when he advanced to the second-level talisman maker a few years ago. It is considered a masterpiece of a second-level refiner. Now he is very handy in using it. This talisman has been drawn for several days in a row. After failing several times, Song Qingming finally succeeded in drawing this green talisman covered with lightning. Looking at the talisman in his hand, which was full of aura and arcs, Song Qingming felt the fluctuating spiritual power in the talisman, nodded with satisfaction, put it aside, and started drawing the next talisman. Unlike making a first-level talisman, the mana required to make a second-level talisman is very large. Whether it is a Qi refining cultivator or a foundation building cultivator, it is difficult to draw a complete talisman with one stroke. Basically, they have to stop writing in the middle and wait for their own mana to recover before continuing to draw. In this continuous process, it is easy to have incomplete strokes, which will lead to the failure of drawing the entire talisman. This is also the biggest difficulty in drawing a second-level talisman. It is difficult to control this point without a little talent in talisman-making skills. This is why second-level talisman makers are so rare. However, after so many years of thinking and training, Song Qingming has mastered this very well. With the help of the incomplete map, he can slowly absorb spiritual energy to replenish his mana even in the process of making talismans. In comparison, he can draw talismans with fewer connections than others. For some talismans with simpler runes, he can even draw them directly like a first-level talisman. It is for this reason that Song Qingming was able to make up for his shortcomings with hard work and successfully break through to the second-level talisman maker despite his average talent in making talismans. After drawing 3 talismans in a row, Song Qingming finally used up the materials on the table that he had swallowed for more than 10 days. After putting away the black talisman pen in his hand, he slowly approached HJ step by step. There are 7 materials in total, and 3 of them succeeded. I'm lucky this time. Song Qingming, who felt the terrifying spiritual power fluctuations in the green talisman, slowly put away the talisman. This talisman is quite powerful. If you were to be hit head-on at close range, it would be difficult to escape even with the protection of the green water bell. The 3-element thunder talisman is a magic power that gathers any 3 attributes of the 5 elements between heaven and earth. It is refined into the 3-element thunderbolt. Although its power is not as strong as the real thunder of heaven and earth, it is also a very powerful talisman among the second-level low-grade talismans. Keeping one of this talisman on you can be of some use. A second-level talisman is worth about 200 to 300 spirit stones. A relatively rare one like the 3-element Thunder Talisman should be able to sell for about 280 spirit stones in the market. This time, the success rate of making talismans has been improved a lot. Naturally, I have to take one talisman and give the remaining 2 to the customers. It is enough for them. After all, if this kind of rare talisman is really found by a half-baked second-level talisman maker, it is likely to be wasted. They are grateful that Song Qingming can give them 2. In this way, Song Qingming began to be busy with the very interesting task of making talismans all day long, constantly enriching his own talisman types. If he continues like this, it is estimated that his talisman-making skills will have another breakthrough in 1 or 2 years. Just as Song Qingming was working hard, a sound transmission note suddenly flew in from outside the cave. Seeing that it was his 6th uncle Song Changfang looking for him, Song Qingming quickly put down the talisman pen in his hand and walked out of the cave gate. Chapter 263 Bad News. In the meeting room, seeing Song Qingming walk in, Song Changfeng, with a heavy face, hurried forward and handed a letter in his hand to him. The letter sent back by Zinayu from Xiaoyao sect said that Kings went out with someone half a year ago. I don't know where he went. He has been missing for several months. I just checked his life card and found that it has been extinguished for a long time. It seems that he must have met with an accident outside, Song Changfang said while taking out the old genealogy of the Song family. When he turned to the page of the Qing generation, Song Qingming quickly found that the 3 words Song Kings next to his name had already turned into dull gray. Looking at the letter, it doesn't say what happened to third brother and where he went. Sect disciples have been missing for so long without reason. Is there no one in Xiaoyao sect who cares about this? Song Changfang sighed and said, Kings hasn't established his foundation yet, and he hasn't left a soul lamp in the sect. I guess the Xiaoyao sect doesn't know that something has happened to him yet. After all, there are many disciples in the Xiaoyao sect, and it's normal for a Qi refining disciple to be missing for several months without anyone paying attention. After thinking for a moment, Song Qingming said softly, I want to go out for a walk after being in seclusion for so long. I'll go to Xiaoyao sect tomorrow. Qingming, I think we should not get involved for now. Otherwise, we should send someone to the law enforcement hall of Xiaoyao sect to state the matter. With the strength of Xiaoyao sect, as long as Kings had not left Uyghur before the accident, we will definitely find out soon. Upon hearing that Song Qingming planned to personally go to Xiaoyao sect to inquire about Song King's affairs, Song Changfang hesitated slightly, but still stopped him, thinking that there was no need to go to Xiaoyao sect for this matter. Although Song Kings is a member of the Song family, he chose to join the Xiaoyao sect and abandon the family. He has not returned to Funiu for many years. Most people in the Song family still have many opinions about him. Song Changfeng is also a little worried that Song Qingming is too concerned about this matter and will make other people in the family unhappy. 6th uncle, although the third brother has gone to the Xiaoyao sect, he is still a member of our Song family. It is not right for the family to ignore him when he gets into trouble. It will also make the younger generation like Zinayu, who joins the Xiaoyao sect, feel cold towards the family, which is not good for the long-term development of the family in the future. I have a few familiar people in the Xiaoyao sect who can speak for me, and I should be able to find out the truth soon. Qingming, you really think more long-term than me? Then let's decide it. You can rest assured that King Gayu and I are at home. Go early and come back early, and be careful on the road. Seeing that Song Qingming had made up his mind, Song Changfang didn't say anything more and nodded to agree with his idea. 5 days later, the Yangshan Feng under the Guiyang Mountain was still as prosperous as usual. Song Qingming sat on a restaurant, looking at the pleasant Guiyang Mountain in the distance, and fell into deep thought. When he came to Yangshan Feng to seek the opportunity to build his foundation, he had several drinking experiences with his third brother Song Kings in this restaurant. More than 20 years have passed, and he didn't expect that this restaurant is still the same without any changes. But in Song Qingming's heart, things have long been different. Even if he waits longer today, his third brother Song Kings will not come here again. Just when Song Qingming was lost in endless contemplation, Song Zinayu, who looked anxious, came here in a hurry. Seeing Song Qingming sitting at a table by the window drinking alone, he hurried over. Nephew greets Uncle 7, well, it seems that your cultivation is about to break through the late stage of Qi refining. You have been diligent over the years. Sit down first. Song Qingming smiled and nodded, pointed to the chair next to him, picked up an empty cup from the side and filled him with a glass of spiritual wine, motioning him to sit down and drink with him. "Uncle 7, who is this glass of wine for?" After the two drank a glass, Song Zinayu saw a full glass of wine opposite him, and asked in confusion. "I poured it specially for your uncle," Song Qingming said with a serious face, and then slowly raised the glass and drank another glass in the direction of the glass of wine. "For Uncle 3. Did Uncle 3 really have an accident?" Hearing Song Qingming say this, Song Zinayu suddenly felt something was wrong. When Song Kings left, he told him that he would be back in 2 months at most. Unexpectedly, he had been gone for almost half a year and there was no news. Song Zinayu was a little panicked. He didn't know many people in Xiaoao sect, so he had no way to find out the matter. He could only send a letter to the family to mention the matter and ask them to check if Uncle 3's fate card was still safe. When Song Kings was in the Song family, he was very talented and ambitious. He never paid much attention to his brothers like Song Qingming. This also led to his average relationship with many cultivators in the family. In addition, he almost lost this relationship when he abandoned the family and came to Xiaoao sect. It was not until he failed to build his foundation that the frustrated Song Kings began to think about the friendship of the family again. He always cared about Song Zinayu, the younger generation sent by the Song family to Xiaoao sect, which also kept the relationship between the uncle and nephew very good. Song Qingming nodded gently and said, "The family tree shows that your third uncle's life tablet has been extinguished for several months. Although the thing may occasionally be wrong, my sixth uncle and I have confirmed it repeatedly several times, and it should not be wrong this time." Song Zinayu, whose mind is not yet fully mature, learned from Song Qingming the bad news that his third uncle Song Kings had been in trouble. Hearing this, Song Zinayu's heart suddenly underwent a tremendous change. In Xiaoao sect, he was the person Song Kings trusted the most. Seeing that Song Kings had not returned for so long, he had long suspected that something might have happened to Song Kings, and he had been secretly worried about it for several months. Now that the bad news has finally been confirmed, Song Zinayu still finds it difficult to accept this most difficult fact in his heart. Thinking of Song Kings' instructions before he left, Song Zinayu, with a sad face, had tears slowly overflowing from his eyes and flowing down. Life and death are determined by fate, so don't be too sad. The most urgent thing is to find out where your third uncle has gone. In case he was really murdered by someone, we must find a way to seek justice for him. Seventh uncle, I have spent some time to find out recently. Your third uncle went on an adventure with several brothers from the sect. I haven't found out exactly where they went, but I already know one of the people who went with him, but this person disappeared with your third uncle, and no one has returned to the sect yet, since he went out with others. It is estimated that there were more than just the two of them. Take me to the Law Enforcement Hall of Xiaoao sect later. I will report the matter directly to the law enforcement team of Xiaoao sect and ask them to check where your third uncle and the others have gone. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 264 Meeting by Yunhe again. After the two discussed in the restaurant for a while, Song Zinai returned to Qi Mountain. The next morning, Song Qingming went up Qi Mountain alone and came to the Lingshan where the Xiaoao sect law enforcement hall was located. This was not the first time Song Qingming came to the Xiaoao sect law enforcement hall. In order to exchange for the foundation building pill, he had run to the law enforcement hall several times and was already familiar with the place. After explaining his purpose to the Xiaoao sect disciples on duty, after waiting for about an incense stick, the monk who went to report the news came out and took Song Qingming into the law enforcement hall. After seeing the two foundation building monks on duty, one old and one young, Song Qingming did not hide anything and quickly told them about Song Kings' murder, hoping to ask the Xiaoao sect law enforcement hall to help investigate the matter. Knowing that several disciples in the sect were missing and an inner sect disciple had been killed, the Xiaoao sect law enforcement hall also attached great importance to it and quickly sent disciples to investigate the matter. After reporting the matter, Song Qingming patiently returned to the restaurant in Yangshanfang, waiting for the results of the inquiry by the law enforcement hall of Xiaoao sect. Since he had come here this time, he couldn't come in vain. Song Qingming took advantage of his free time to take a good walk in Yangshanfang and collected some second-level talisman-making materials. After alarming the law enforcement hall of Xiaoyao sect, the matter soon became clear. A few days later, Song Qingming, who was staying in the inn in Fangxi, was summoned by the law enforcement hall of Xiaoyao sect and came here again. After entering the door this time, Song Qingming saw two more foundation-building monks from the law enforcement hall who had entertained him before, and one of them was a very young man in white. After seeing Song Qingming, he hurriedly stood up and greeted him. "Senior Song, do you recognize me? It's fellow Taoist Bai. You and I are already fellow Taoists. Please don't call me senior anymore. Let's call each other fellow Taoists from now on." Seeing the familiar face of the person who came, Song Qingming instantly remembered his identity. He was Bai Yunhua, the second-level formation master of Xiaoyao sect, who helped the Song family improve the spiritual veins of Funiu Mountain. Back then, Song Qingming asked him to help improve the spiritual veins of Funiu Mountain. Bai Yunhua had lived in the Song family for half a year. Although Song Qingming didn't see him often, he still had a very deep memory of him in his mind. After all, the memory of a foundation-building cultivator is already comparable to that of ordinary people. When Song Qingming asked him to go out of the mountain to Qing County, this person's cultivation was still at the 9th level of Qi Refining. Now, 20 years have passed, and Bai Yunhua has become a second-level foundation-building cultivator. In comparison, his identity has long been different. Fellow Taoist Song, we in the law enforcement hall have already found some clues about the death of junior brother Kings. He went to Blackstone Valley with several disciples of the sect and disappeared. Including him, a total of 6 people went there. The situation of the other few people is the same as him. They have not returned to the sect since then. However, they did not leave some soul lamps in the sect, and we still don't know whether they are alive or dead. Blackstone Valley, what did my third brother go there for? Is it a mission assigned by the sect? Hearing that Song Kings and others went to Blackstone Valley, Song Qingming's face was also very surprised. He really couldn't understand why his third brother went there with others. Blackstone Valley is located in the west of Uyghur. That place was once a place of no spirits created by an ancient battlefield. In the hundreds of miles around, there are only huge rocks that have been burned half into charcoal. Not to mention people, there is not even a single monster. It is a dead place without vitality. That's not the case. Fellow Taoist Song also knows that the place is a place of absolute spiritual power. The sect has no industry nearby, so it is impossible to send disciples to the vicinity to perform tasks. The reason they went there this time was because someone said that they found an ancient cave residence near the Blackstone Valley, and they wanted to go there to find some opportunities, so they invited junior brother Kings and others to go on an adventure together. This was asked by 2 disciples who were not persuaded by them to go with us yesterday. According to what they said, the place mentioned by the 2 disciples who invited them at that time was near the Blackstone Valley. Because the 2 of them did not agree to participate later, they only know this. As for what kind of changes junior brother Kings and his friends encountered after leaving the sect, it is still unknown. After discussing with me yesterday, several senior brothers planned to go to the Blackstone Valley together today to investigate the truth of the matter, so as to comfort the spirits of several junior brothers in heaven. Song Qingming nodded and said, "In this case, it will take some time to find out the truth of this matter. I don't know why several fellow Taoists asked me to come here today." Bai Yunhua exchanged glances with the others after hearing this and said, "I asked you to come here today because I want you to help me go to Blackstone Valley with us to find the places where my nephews died. Although I have been practicing Taoism for a few years, I have never practiced the secret method of finding people." Song Qingming was a little surprised when he heard that Bai Yunhua wanted to ask him to go with him. The Xiaoyao sect law enforcement team rarely let outsiders participate in the execution of tasks. Even if it was a foundation-building cultivator with some strength like Song Qingming, the Xiaoyao sect law enforcement team would not look up to him. For example, in order to search for the whereabouts of several Qi Refining disciples today, it was already completely sufficient to gather 4 foundation-building cultivators to act together, so there was no need for Song Qingming to help. Fellow Taoist Song, this is the case. The missing disciples are all cultivators in the Qi Refining stage, and they did not leave soul lamps in the sect. It is difficult to determine their exact location based on the things they used during their lifetime. This time, we have discussed and decided to use senior brother Wang's blood connection secret method to search for them. This requires a relative who is closely related to the missing person. That's why we invited you here today. I hope you can lend a hand. After Bai Yunhu finished speaking, another middle-aged man who was a little older stepped forward and said, "This method requires taking out some of the cultivator's blood and essence to lead the way. The loss of blood and essence for cultivators with too low cultivation will affect their future practice a little. However, for a foundation-building cultivator like fellow Taoist Song, it doesn't matter. The loss of this little blood and essence will basically not have any effect on your current cultivation." After hearing this, Song Qingming finally understood. When he came here, he thought that they had investigated the matter clearly. After he arrived, he listened to Bai Yunhu talking for a long time without any results, and he was a little puzzled. It was not until now that he knew their purpose. After thinking for a while, Song Qingming didn't want to offend the law enforcement hall, so he nodded and agreed to their proposal, and followed them to search for the missing Xiaoyao sect monks. The reason why he agreed so readily was mainly for his third brother Song Qing's. After all, they were brothers, and Song Qingming also hoped that he could know the truth about his death as soon as possible. Chapter 265 Blackstone Valley. Seeing that Song Qingming readily agreed, several Xiaoyao sect cultivators, including Bai Yunhu, all gave him a friendly smile. Since fellow Taoist Song has agreed, let's set off now without further delay. We will probably be busy again when we get to Blackstone Valley. The middle-aged man who just spoke exchanged glances with several other fellow disciples and quickly made a decision. Half an hour later, a black spirit boat passed the side of Guiyang Mountain and quickly turned to fly east. In addition to Song Qingming, Bai Yunhu and other 4 Xiaoyao sect law enforcement hall deacons, there were 3 Qi Refining Xiaoyao sect disciples on the flying spirit boat. They were all blood relatives of the missing disciples who went out with Song Qing's this time. They were considered as backups for this operation. If Song Qingming couldn't find the missing disciples, he would have to work hard on them. After all, Xiaoyao sect is the absolute overlord of Wei State. So many disciples have disappeared at once, and their families have come to the door. If they don't give an explanation quickly, if the news spreads, it will definitely affect the reputation of the sect. In order to find out the matter as soon as possible, the law enforcement hall has spent a lot of effort this time. Everyone took turns to consume mana to drive the spirit boat, and the speed was much faster than usual, and it could reach 1,000 miles a day. Looking at the spirit boat under his feet, Song Qingming was really envious. This is a unique spiritual object in Xiaoyao sect in the entire Wei State, except for Xiaoyao sect cultivators. Few outsiders can get this kind of spirit boat. The spirit boat they took this time was taken out by the middle-aged man from Xiaoyao sect, who was sitting at the back and steering the helm. Brother Wang and Bai Yunhu's mouth was able to carry 10 people at a time, and the flying speed was far higher than that of ordinary foundation-building cultivators flying with swords. The flying boat can not only be used as a means of transportation, but also as a useful magic weapon for chasing and escaping. Song Qingming had always wanted such a spiritual object since he established his foundation. Unfortunately, just like the high-level puppet beast, the spiritual boat was also an important strategic material in Xiaoyao sect, and it was almost never circulated in the market outside. The cultivators in Uyghur who could own a spiritual boat basically went to other countries to buy it, or only those foundation-building cultivators who had made great contributions to Xiaoyao sect would have the opportunity to exchange one from Xiaoyao sect, whether it was a large market like Yangshanfang or the auction of Xiandan League and Beilongshan. Song Qingming had never had the opportunity to see the appearance of such a spiritual object. This was also one of the few regrets after he established his foundation. I don't know when he will have the opportunity to fulfill his wish. After the spiritual boat went east for 3 days, everyone passed through a small market and soon came to a lifeless gray hill. Looking at the vivid desolate scene below, everyone had guessed that the destination this time should be approaching. As expected, after flying forward for dozens of miles, the spiritual boat landed on a relatively flat gray ground. Everyone, come down and get ready. The Blackstone Valley is ahead. The person who spoke was the middle-aged man who was driving the spirit boat. He was also the leader of this mission. Through the acquaintance of the past few days, Song Qingming has almost understood the situation of these people. In addition to Bai Yunhu, the highest cultivation of the remaining 3 people is the middle-aged man who leads the team named Wang Mingxiao. The other 2, the older old man, called himself Hu's Hongxing, didn't say a few words along the way. He was a person who liked to be quiet. The younger one was a little shorter, named Yang Chang, a cultivator who came from a casual cultivation background. This person had very good luck. After joining the Xiaoyao sect, he not only successfully built his foundation, but also became a relatively rare second-level alchemist. The remaining 3 Qi refining cultivators were all Qi refining disciples of the Xiaoyao sect. They had been sitting with so many foundation-building predecessors these days, but it was a bit hard for them. Until now, they were still a little trembling and dared not speak loudly. After everyone got off the spiritual boat, Wang Mingxiao directly put away the spiritual boat and led everyone to walk forward for a distance, and came to a canyon where 2 mountains intersected. Song Qingming looked around and found that it was just as recorded in the classics. There was no grass around, and the areas around the 2 ends of the canyon were all black stones that seemed to have been burned by charcoal fire. It is rumored that tens of thousands of years ago, this was a high-level spiritual land with birds singing and flowers blooming. It was only because 2 great monks in the late Yuanying stage fought a life-and-death battle here for some unknown reason. As a result, the 2 fought for several days and nights, but in the end, both sides were injured and neither benefited. They also smashed the spiritual veins here, turning a good place into a deadly place, and many low-level monks and mortals who did not have time to escape nearby suffered. It can be said that the gains did not outweigh the losses, and it was also detrimental to the way of heaven. In the fight between high-level cultivators, the first to suffer are often low-level cultivators and mortals. This is also a very difficult fact to accept in the world of immortal cultivation. In the eyes of high-level cultivators, the lower-level mortals are like ants, and few high-level cultivators will care about their life and death. Seeing that the fight between Yuanying-level cultivators can have such great destructive power, Song Qingming really dared not imagine what the scene would be like when the divine transformation cultivators took action. After reaching the valley entrance, Wang Mingxiao stopped first, took out a piece of yellow talisman paper and put it in his hand, and then began to cast a spell until the talisman paper lit up with a spiritual light, and then he turned his head and looked at Song Qingming with a smile. At this time, Song Qingming had already prepared it, and a drop of blood essence from his body had been shot at the talisman paper in Wang Mingxiao's hand. After a burst of fire, the talisman paper in Wang Mingxiao's hand slowly turned into ashes, and then a puff of green smoke came out. "How is it? Did senior brother Wang find them?" Wang Mingxiao did not answer immediately, but slowly put away the magic first. Then carefully looked at the green smoke rising from the pile of ashes in his hand, and then slowly said, "I have found them." According to the green smoke, they are in the valley. Wang Mingxiao's blood connection method is really magical. It can find Song King's, who has been missing for several months, so quickly. It is really a useful spell. It's a pity that this is someone else's unique secret book. It is really difficult for me to learn it. Following the green smoke from the ashes in Wang Mingxiao's hand, everyone entered the valley and came to a smaller cave, slowly walking forward. In addition to the 3 Qi refining cultivators who stayed outside to meet them, Song Qingming also followed them into the cave. Looking at the narrow cave, thinking of the dead land near the valley, Song Qingming really didn't dare to think about who would build his cave here. Chapter 266 Demon Suppression Tower. After entering the cave, everyone walked several hundred feet inside, and suddenly it became clear. After everyone cast a few lighting spells, they found that they seemed to have entered a huge underground cave. However, as soon as they entered this place, everyone felt a hint of cold wind blowing in their faces, which made people shudder. "This breath is a little wrong, everyone be careful, don't disperse." It seems that he smelled a strange smell of blood in the cold wind, and Wang Mingxiao hurriedly reminded everyone. After everyone heard it, the few people who had just walked away hurried back. "Brother Wang, I think we should explore the way first," Bai Yanhu also reminded him after hearing this. Wang Mingxiao nodded, and then took out a purple spirit beast bag from his waist. Only a squeaking sound was heard, and a 1-foot-tall spirit rat jumped out of the spirit beast bag. Under Wang Mingxiao's instructions, the cute spirit rat walked carefully in front, and Wang Mingxiao led everyone to follow at a distance. The further they went, the more obvious the smell of blood in the air became, and a heavy look gradually appeared on everyone's faces. This cave was so gloomy that it didn't look like a cultivator's cave at all. Everyone took out their magic weapons and prepared to fight at any time. Fortunately, nothing happened along the way, and everyone came to the depths of the cave without much effort. "Look, there's a corpse in front," with Bai Yanhua's shout, everyone's eyes immediately gathered. Yes, This is the robe of our Zioao sect, it seems to be them. Who is so vicious that he dares to attack our Zioao sect here? In front of everyone was a very old corpse. Because the cultivators in the Qi refining stage absorb spiritual energy to temper their bodies for many years, even if they die within 10 years, there will be almost no damage. It should be easy to identify this person's identity. But the corpse in front of him could no longer see its original face. It seemed that all the blood and essence in his body had been drained away in an instant. His face had become a shrunken corpse. His expression was also very terrified. I don't know what terrible thing he had encountered. At this time, the storage bag on the corpse had disappeared. Fortunately, the Taoist robes that this person wore were too obvious for the inner disciples of Zioao sect, so his identity could still be confirmed. Seeing the appearance of this corpse, Qingming couldn't help but feel a little uneasy. This miserable appearance was really beyond his expectations. Before everyone could think about it carefully, a second corpse was found not far ahead. The situation was similar to the previous corpse. It was also so miserable. The storage bag on the body had disappeared. However, when Qingming saw this corpse, he still felt a little familiar. After a careful inspection, he confirmed that this was the body of his third brother Qing's. A few dozen feet in front of Qing's body, everyone found a somewhat damaged stone platform, around which lay 4 disciples of the Zioao sect who had suffered the same fate. It seemed that these were the few missing people left. Brother Bai, what kind of magic array is this? Do you recognize it? Seeing a stone tower built of stones on top of the stone platform with many forbidden spells painted on it, Wang Mingxiao, who was walking in the front, quickly asked the second-level array master Bai Yunhe. After hearing this, Bai Yunhe stepped forward to check it out, and then said with a serious face, "This doesn't seem to be a magic array, but a demon-suppressing tower that seals evil things. It seems that several nephews have triggered the seal, and the evil things inside have been released by them. Demon-suppressing tower, how can there be such a thing here? It has never been recorded in the sect's classics." When they heard that this thing was a demon-suppressing tower, everyone's faces showed a trace of panic. The demon-suppressing tower is not common in the world of immortal cultivation. It is generally used to seal those powerful demon cultivators or some evil spirits that are difficult to completely eliminate. Unlike the low-level demon cultivators such as Yang Wuqi that Qingming had seen before, demon cultivators above the Jinden level can practice the art of yin demon reincarnation. In critical moments, they can be reincarnated into the substitutes prepared before their death. If the demon subduer does not have special means, it is difficult to completely eradicate this hidden danger even if he kills his physical body. The demon suppression tower is one of the ways to deal with these high-level demon cultivators. When the demon cultivator dies, his soul is directly imprisoned in the body, and the demon suppression tower is used to suppress it for hundreds or thousands of years. When the lifespan of the demon cultivator himself or the prepared substitute is almost exhausted, he will not be able to make any waves. This method is clumsy and the hidden dangers are also very large. Without cultivators guarding it all year round, it is easy for such a low-level cultivator to discover it and mistakenly think it is something left by the predecessors and ancient cultivators, and risk their lives to break the seal and release the sealed demons inside. Brother Bai, are you sure this is the demon suppression tower? Could it be a mistake? Wang Mingxiao looked at the stone platform in front of him and asked thoughtfully. I have never seen the demon suppression tower with my own eyes, but judging from the runes on the seal, it is indeed something that can seal evil things. I am sure of this, Junior Brother Wang. This matter involves a great demon, and we need to report it to the sect immediately. Let's not get close to this formation, and go outside to inform Uncle Li first, whose Hongxing saw that Wang Mingxiao had been staring at the demon suppression tower in front of him, as if he wanted to go forward to check it out, so he quickly reminded him. Wang Mingxiao turned around and looked at everyone. Seeing that no one objected to Hu's Hongxing's statement, he quickly changed his attitude of wanting to go forward to check it out, and asked everyone to collect the corpses around the stone platform and retreat from the cave. A day later, Qingming, who was waiting in the Black Stone Valley with several people from the Zioao sect, saw 2 spiritual lights flying quickly across the sky, and soon 2 Jinden cultivators, a man and a woman, landed in front of everyone. Qingming knew one of the 2 people. It was Li Wutong, the elder of the Law Enforcement Hall of Zioao sect. It was from him that Qingming got an opportunity to exchange for the Foundation establishment pill. He could be considered a great benefactor who helped Qingming a lot on his path. The other one was relatively unfamiliar. Song Qingming had never seen her before. The woman was wearing a blue and white long dress. Although she looked only 18 or 19 years old, she was beautiful and elegant. The unique aura she exuded was like a fairy stepping into the mortal world. Song Qingming had practiced Taoism for decades, but he had never seen a woman with such an outstanding temperament. He couldn't help but look at her twice more. Such a beautiful woman could attract other people's attention with every move she made. Fortunately, Song Qingming himself had good self-control in this regard, so he didn't show too much of a loss of composure on the spot. Greetings to Uncle Bai and Uncle Li. Chapter 267 Strengthening the Seal. After Song Qingming bowed with everyone in Xiaoyao sect, he immediately knew the identity of this woman. Since they called her Uncle Bai, she must be Bai Yuxin, the third-ranked Jiandan elder in Xiaoyao sect. She is the only Xianlingjian cultivator among the current Jiandan cultivators in Xiaoyao sect, and she is also the one with the greatest hope of forming a unyielding in the future. Song Qingming is really envious of this true genius in the world of immortal cultivation. Some people are really born to stand at the top that others can't reach. You may not be able to catch up with her, even if you work hard to cultivate for a lifetime. Li Wutong waved his hand after seeing everyone, and saw Song Qingming standing aside. He quickly recognized him as the young Qi Refining cultivator who had exchanged a foundation building pill from him that year. However, seeing Song Qingming, who had successfully established his foundation and steadily improved his cultivation to the 4th level of foundation building, Li Wutong, a Jiandan cultivator, did not show too much surprise. He just glanced at him and turned his eyes away and asked, "Where's the demon suppression tower, and what is the situation inside now?" What surprised Song Qingming was that Li Wutong did not ask Wang Mingxiao, the leader of this mission, but Bai Yunhua, who had the lowest cultivation level, and seemed to have a closer relationship with him. Reporting to Uncle Li, the demon suppression tower is in a cave in front. After discovering it, the disciples and others retreated and have been guarding here, and did not touch the seal. Li Wutong nodded after listening, and then glanced at Bai Yuxin beside him. Seeing that her expression was calm and she had nothing to say, he motioned for everyone to lead the way. After passing through the dark cave again, everyone soon came to the demon suppression tower in the underground cave. After seeing the damaged stone tower, Bai Yuxin, who was walking in front, flew directly to the top of the demon suppression tower and took a closer look. She waited until the people behind her caught up, then she landed on the stone platform from the air, and then a clear voice sounded in the air. The main body of this demon is still sealed in the demon suppression tower. It should be only part of its soul that escaped. I will try to strengthen the seal first. Don't get too close. Hearing that there was still a demon in the demon suppression tower, everyone who came in yesterday was shocked, especially Wang Mingxiao, who wanted to check the seal at the beginning, and broke out in a cold sweat. He didn't know why he suddenly had this idea before, and now he thinks about it, he is really a little scared. Hearing Bai Yuxin's reminder, except for Li Wutong, the Jiandan's Henren, Song Qingming and other foundation building cultivators hurriedly retreated 100 feet and stood aside. After the people below walked away, Bai Yuxin raised her jade hand lightly, and 3 black and white talismans flew to the top of the stone tower, tightly attached to the top, middle and bottom of the stone tower. Afterwards, Bai Yuxin quickly cast a spell on these talismans, and the runes on the 3 talismans immediately emitted a burst of spiritual light. Dozens of talismans quickly emerged from the talismans, and then climbed all over the stone tower and tightly wrapped the entire demon suppression tower. After seeing these 3 black and white talismans, Song Qingming instantly recognized that this talisman should be the demon suppression talisman commonly used by righteous monks to deal with demons, but the power of the 3 demon suppression talismans used by Bai Yuxin far exceeded the one Song Qingming had seen before, and the quality should be above the 3rd level. Song Qingming could also get a detailed understanding of how powerful the demon head who sealed the demon in the demon suppression tower was originally, as Bai Yuxin could use 3 3rd-level demon suppression talismans at once. If this demon really escaped, I am afraid that the entire Wei state would usher in a bloody storm, and all the people would be devastated. Just as Bai Yuxin was concentrating on controlling the spell to strengthen the seal, the demon suppression tower, which had been motionless, suddenly shook violently. A thick black fog suddenly rose from some corners that had not been completely covered by the demon suppression talisman. The black fog quickly gathered into a huge black head above the demon suppression tower, and fiercely pounced on Bai Yuxin, who was casting a spell. "Demon, how dare you be so presumptuous? Seeing that the blackhead wanted to interrupt Bai Yuxin's spell, Li Wutong, who was protecting her, shouted angrily and flew into the air with a golden giant sword to stop it. Although the head formed by the black fog looked very scary, its strength was not very strong. Li Wutong didn't spend much effort to cut it in half with one sword, but after the two halves of the head turned into black fog, they quickly gathered together again to give birth to a slightly smaller head. Li Wutong was not surprised by this. He reached out and took out a few second-level demon-suppressing talismans and stuck them on his flying sword, and took the initiative to attack the head formed by the black fog. Seeing that it was no match for Li Wutong, the black fog wanted to escape directly, but after escaping only 100 feet, it was soon pulled back to the vicinity of the demon suppression tower by some unknown force, making it completely unable to escape Li Wutong's attack. With the blessing of the demon suppression talisman, which was specially used to deal with demons, the power of the flying sword in Li Wutong's hand increased a bit. Not long after, with a scream, the black fog completely disappeared under his sword. Li Wutong had just finished fighting, and Bai Yuxin had also made progress. As the demon suppression talisman continued to strengthen the seal, the entire stone tower slowly settled down, and no more black fog overflowed. After waiting for another half a day, Bai Yuxin, who had completed the spell, finally put away the magic power in his hand and stood up. With the seal I have strengthened, this demon will not be able to escape within 200 years. However, this demon has some ability to bewitch people, so we need to be careful. I will set up another formation outside to seal the entrance to prevent anyone from accidentally entering this place in the future. Senior Sister Bai, you just said that part of the demon soul has escaped. Is there any way to solve this major hidden danger? Although Li Wutong is older than Bai Yuxin, he has to call Bai Yuxin senior sister in terms of seniority because he formed the Dan later than her. Bai Yuxin shook his head and said, at present, we don't know how the demon soul escaped from the seal of the demon suppression tower. And we don't know where the demon has fled to. But I just took a look, and this demon suppression tower is at least a few hundred years old. Even if the demon inside escapes and some of its soul can possess the bodies of low-level cultivators, it won't have much lifespan to rebuild its skills. We don't need to worry too much about this. Hearing this, Li Wutong also breathed a sigh of relief, and said to himself, I don't know which senior sealed this demon here, and he didn't even say hello to our Zioao sect. It was almost caused by a few ignorant juniors. The world of immortal cultivation is so big, and there are many seniors who do things in an unconventional way. Maybe this demon suppression tower was built by a senior who passed by and didn't want to have anything to do with our Zioao sect. Chapter 268 Falling into the Devil's Way. In a dark cave hundreds of miles away from Blackstone Valley, a middle-aged man dressed in the clothes of Zioao sect was meditating with his eyes closed. Unlike other cultivators, the mana he exuded from time to time was dark in color, with a hint of chill. My dear disciple, I didn't expect you to have some talent in practicing my technique. You have mastered it so quickly and upgraded it to the second level. I was right about you. A somewhat desolate voice suddenly appeared in this empty cave. However, the middle-aged man did not speak, but the voice came from him, which made people feel a little strange. Hearing this, the middle-aged man immediately opened his eyes, knelt down in front of an empty place and said respectfully, the only way for me to successfully build a foundation in such a short time is to rely on the mysterious skills taught by the master. In the future, I will serve the master wholeheartedly, haha. Since your disciple has already entered the magic way, you can be considered as a cultivator of the magic way. When we rescue my master from the seal completely in the future, this Donghuang's Hao may become our territory, and then we won't have to live in hiding like this anymore, haha. Master, don't worry. When my disciple's cultivation level is higher, I will find a way to rescue you from there first. Hey. Just now I have sensed that the seal on the main body has been strengthened again. I think someone must have found it. It is impossible to break the seal in a short time with your current cultivation level. It is better not to waste that energy. The most urgent thing is to do another thing for the master first. As long as this matter is done, I will have my own way to restore my cultivation level in the future. After feeling a message suddenly coming into his consciousness, the middle-aged man nodded quickly, stood up and quickly left the cave. If Song Qingming was here, he would definitely recognize the middle-aged man kneeling on the ground immediately. He was Du Yuchen, who almost killed him that year. However, He would never have thought that the Xiaoyao sect disciple with a somewhat sinister temperament has now completely fallen into the devil's way and become a demon cultivator that everyone in the world of immortal cultivation would be afraid of. A few years ago, after Du Yuchen failed to build his foundation, he also lost a motivation to practice for a long time. He drank all day and had fun with others. He abandoned his family and betrayed the Liu family in exchange for an opportunity to join the Xiaoyao sect and get a foundation-building pill. As a result, after joining the Xiaoyao sect, his chief master not only ignored his practice in order to prevent him from successfully obtaining the foundation-building pill promised to him by Guangling's Henren, but also secretly let other brothers and sisters make things difficult for him, hoping that he would give up and drive him out of the Xiaoyao sect in the end. He still relied on his own perseverance, endured humiliation and survived. After years of risking his life to perform tasks, he finally successfully cultivated to the 9th level of Qi Refining before the age of 60, and went to the General Affairs Hall to receive his own foundation-building pill. He thought that he could successfully build a foundation and soar to the sky, washing away the humiliation of these years. But he didn't expect that the only chance he had worked hard for half his life would eventually fail. Just when Du Yuchen was self-degrading and frustrated, suddenly a senior brother who had performed tasks with him before suddenly came to the door and invited him to visit an ancient cave in the Blackstone Valley. In the ancient cave, you can often get some unexpected benefits. Although Du Yuchen was very frustrated after the failure of the foundation, he did not completely give up the hope of building a foundation. When he heard about this opportunity, he immediately nodded and agreed to it, and also helped him invite Song Kings, who was also eager to find an opportunity. What he didn't expect was that after several people had traveled a month with great difficulty to the Blackstone Valley, they struggled to open the seal outside the cave and found that there were no spiritual objects in the cave that the senior brother found, only a strange stone tower that made people feel a little cold. After seeing the dense seals on the stone tower, although they didn't know the demon suppression tower, they already felt something was wrong. When they were hesitating whether to leave here immediately, they didn't notice that one of them had been bewitched by the demon in the demon suppression tower, and the seal had been triggered. This released part of the demon's soul, and everyone immediately felt bad. When they wanted to escape, they found that it was too late. They were instantly sucked dry by the demon who had just escaped. Only Du Yuchen was more cautious and stayed away from him, so he didn't suffer immediately. Just when he thought he was also going to escape the bad luck, he didn't expect that the demon didn't kill him immediately, but directly asked to accept him as a disciple. In order to save his life, Du Yuchen didn't care about anything else and could only agree. In this way, Du Yuchen voluntarily was planted with a ban by the demon and became his apprentice. The demon sealed in this demon-suppressing tower is named Xiao Wang. This demon had cultivated to the 9th level of the Golden Core realm hundreds of years ago. Just when he was about to break through to the nascent soul realm, he was chased by a nascent soul cultivator. Knowing that he could not defeat him, he wanted to give up his physical body and take over another body to cultivate again. Unexpectedly, this nascent soul master had great magical powers and still trapped his soul, eventually sealing him in the Blackstone Valley for hundreds of years. The hundreds of years of seal not only made the reincarnation substitute he prepared in his early years useless, but also made it difficult for him to take over another body to cultivate again. He could only find a way to unlock the seal of his body in order to have the hope of breaking through the nascent soul. After Xiao Wang placed a ban on Du Yuchen, he wanted him to open the demon-suppressing tower and release his body. Unfortunately, although the demon-suppressing tower had loosened after hundreds of years, Du Yuchen was just a small Qi refining cultivator, and his cultivation was too low. After trying for a long time, he still couldn't completely unlock the seal. Du Yuchen and his companions were originally monks from a large sect. If they had not returned for a long time, they would definitely attract the pursuit of Xiaoyao sect in desperation. Xiao Wang could only let him take part of his soul and leave Blackstone Valley, and find a way to wait for Du Yuchen to improve his cultivation before returning to remove the seal for him. After everyone walked out of the underground cave, Bai Yuxin reset a seal at the entrance of the cave and hid the entrance. After these things were dealt with, everyone left Blackstone Valley with the two Jindans Henren. After returning to Qingming Mountain, Wang Mingxiao and others once again checked the identities of the disciples who died near the demon suppression tower, and soon determined that the third brother Song King's was the body that Song Qingming had found earlier. When cooperating with the law enforcement hall to investigate the identity of the body of the disciple who had an accident, Song Qingming unexpectedly discovered that among all the Xiaoyao sect disciples who went to Blackstone Valley, the body of one person had never been found. This person was Du Yuchen, whom he had fought several times. Chapter 269 Funeral. After seeing Du Yuchen's name, Song Qingming felt a little helpless. He had kindly reminded Song Kings not to have too much contact with this person because he felt that this person was very good at disguising himself and was not as simple as he seemed. He did not expect that his third brother could not escape in the end. In the past few months, no disciples have returned to the sect to report this matter. Wang Ningxiao and others have already assumed that Du Yuchen had died there a long time ago. As for the fact that the body could not be found, it was probably swallowed by the devil. A Qi refining disciple with a low status and no background, no one in the law enforcement hall was willing to spend time to verify the cause of this matter, and it was soon revealed. However, the demon suppression tower that sealed Xiao Wang in the Blackstone Valley still attracted the attention of Xiaoyao sect. There was such a big hidden danger near their own territory. If the matter was not investigated clearly, it would indeed make it difficult for the people of Xiaoyao sect to sleep peacefully. Under the personal questioning of the Grand Elder Li Mufen, Xiaoyao sect quickly found out Xiao Wang's identity. Hundreds of years ago, this demon was also a major scourge near the floating cloud mountains. There were no less than 6 giant monks who died in his hands in the nearby sects. Xiao Wang relied on his profound cultivation and unique life-saving magical powers to escape the encirclement and suppression of the righteous monks several times. He was a person who gave the Yuanying ancestors some headaches. In the past few hundred years, there was no trace of this demon. Almost everyone thought that Xiao Wang had left the floating cloud mountains and went somewhere else. They never expected that this big demon who made people talk about it was actually sealed in the Blackstone Valley. Fortunately, Xiao Wang was now sealed in the demon suppression tower. As long as nothing unexpected happened, this demon should not be able to break through the Yuanying realm in this life. The demon monks not only have strong survival ability, but also have some special ways to prolong their lives. However, most of their secret methods are methods of swallowing the essence, blood and vitality of other monks, which damages their own destiny, and their cultivation will be more bumpy than that of ordinary righteous monks. Just like when Xiao Wang broke through the nascent soul, he happened to be found by a nascent soul master, and ended up being sealed in the Blackstone Valley for hundreds of years. Although he has escaped part of his soul, his hope of forming a nascent soul is very slim. Normally speaking, the lifespan of a demon cultivator above the foundation building stage is generally 40% to 50% longer than that of a righteous cultivator. Xiao Wang, the big demon, was a cultivator of the same generation as Li Mufen. As long as his body cannot escape in a short period of time, even if the escaped part of his soul can take over the body of a low-level cultivator to recultivate the skills, the remaining more than 100 years of life will not allow him to have a chance to break through to the nascent soul realm again. Xiaoyao sect does not need to worry too much about this, as long as they are careful about the seal of the Blackstone Valley. After cremating Song King's body, Song Qingming discussed with his master and decided to take Song King's ashes back to Funiu for a proper burial. After all, he did not have many relatives in Xiaoyao sect. After packing up some of Song King's relics in his cave, Song Qingming gave some of his spiritual objects to Song Zinayu, who was closest to Song King's, and only took some of his clothes to return to Qing County. Before leaving, Song Zinayu, with a sad face, couldn't help but said to Song Qingming, "Seventh uncle, do you want to bury third uncle here? As long as I am here, there will definitely be people who come to worship him every year. Your third uncle still had some regrets after leaving home. He didn't get what he wanted during his lifetime. After his death, let him return to his roots. You should practice well and don't be too distracted by these things. When you succeed in building your foundation, it will be very simple to go back home to worship him." After going back and forth, more than half a month had passed when Song Qingming returned to Qing County. Seeing Song Qingming holding a small porcelain jar in his hand, sixth uncle Song Changfang immediately knew that it should contain Song King's ashes. After hearing the general situation of Song King's death, Song Changfang was also a little sad. Back then, Song King's devoted himself to the pursuit of the Tao and almost gave up everything in order to build his foundation, but in the end he still ended up dying tragically. In comparison, he was able to live safely in Funiu Mountain until now, which was quite good. The Tao is ruthless, and everyone has their own destiny. The path of cultivation is not something you can absolutely succeed in just by working hard. Talent, background, opportunity, personality, and luck. These may determine a cultivator's lifelong path, but they are often not forced. Because of Song King's departure from Xiaoyao sect, he has been controversial in the Song family for many years. Naturally, his funeral was not as grand as others. Under the simple presidency of Song Changfeng, he was soon buried in the cemetery belonging to the Song family cultivators. As the ancient monks withdrew from the historical stage of the Song family, the Chang monks also gradually aged. The oldest uncle, Song Chengwu, is now over 100 years old and has retired to enjoy his old age. Some of them have turned into piles of yellow earth standing in the Song family cemetery. In Song Qingming's generation, the Qing monks have grown up and are now the backbone of the family. The third brother Song Kings, as the first Qing monk to be buried in the cemetery, can only stand alone at the bottom. After the farewell crowd slowly dispersed, Song Qingming stood in front of the tombstone he had carved himself and worshipped for a while, then slowly sat down and poured another glass of spirit wine for Song Kings. This was the first time he carved a tombstone for a clan member, and he didn't know who would carve his own tombstone in the future. Alice. This location was originally the one I had my eyes on first, but I didn't expect that this time it would be the third brother's first. Haha, big brother, don't think that you can be buried here first just because you are older than us. Maybe I will die early in the future, and I will need your help to send me off. Just as Song Qingming was sighing, the eldest brother Song Qingxi and the fourth brother Song Qingru also came here together. Back then, they were not much different in age, and they all went to school together in the family school. They grew up together. After hearing the news of Song King's death, even the fourth brother Song Qingru, who had always had some opinions about the third brother, put aside his prejudice and took the initiative to help organize his funeral. When Song Qingming saw the two of them, he turned around and smiled, but did not respond to their words. He just silently poured 2 more glasses of wine for the two of them. Seventh brother, it's all thanks to you that I have been able to live such a comfortable life these years. It's a pity that I don't have any skills now, unlike my eldest brother who can help you occasionally. Giving birth to another cultivator in your family is not considered helping. Speaking of merit, I am far inferior to you in this regard alone. I have given birth to 5 or 6 children so far, and none of them can practice. Song Qingxi shook his head and sighed. Chapter 270 Leaving. Since losing an arm in the monster riot, the fourth brother Song Qingru has been staying at the foot of the mountain to help look after the mortals in the family. He has long lost a motivation to practice. Fortunately, he was lucky. After getting married, he gave birth to a son who had his spiritual roots tested. In order to save more cultivation resources for his child in recent years, he started to work again. It can be said that there is light at the end of the tunnel. Brother is right. There is still a big gap in the number of cultivators in the family. Many spiritual veins and mines do not have enough cultivators to guard them. Second sister is always urging me to ask for people. Fourth brother, you can give birth to a new cultivator and add another cultivator to the family. It is indeed a great contribution to the family. Song Qingming also smiled slowly and said. The 3 drank a full jar of spiritual wine in front of Song King's grave, and then left the cemetery with a little drunkenness. 2 years later, in Qinghofang, Song Qingming and Song Qingai were walking on the street of Fangxi with more than a dozen Song family cultivators. Qingai, leave the patrol of the market town to Uncle 13 and the others. Try to consult with fellow Taoist Lu as much as possible, and try to control the clansman, and don't make the relationship with him too awkward. Seventh brother, don't worry. I also spent 2 years in the guard team. I already understand all this. After hearing Song Qingming's repeated instructions, Song Qingai nodded again skillfully. It has been 20 years since Song Qingming established his foundation, and the Song family has once again been assigned the task of guarding Qinghofang. In order to train Song Qingai well, Song Qingming directly arranged for her to go down the mountain and lead the team to Qinghofang. Song Qingai had broken through to the 2nd level of foundation building a year ago, and she also had 2 2nd-level magic weapons on her body. Song Qingming also gave her several 2nd-level spiritual talismans for protection. Her current strength is far better than when Song Qingming was stationed in the market town. Moreover, Qinghofang also has the experienced Lu Yuanfang in charge. In Song Qingming's view, there should be no big problem. In recent years, under the governance of Wang Shengaiyu, the atmosphere in Qinghofang has gradually improved. However, there are still some cases of independent cultivators being robbed and missing around the market. For this reason, Liu Yuanfang has also strengthened the defense force of King Hufang and hired many independent cultivators to join the guard team. Song Qingyu's handover with the Wang family was relatively smooth this time. She moved into the high-level cave house in King Hufang on the same day. Her active appearance in King Hufang this time also caused a slight shock to the entire Qing county. The Gao family and the Liu family were fine. Like the Wang family, they had already found out some news about Song Qingyu's foundation building. They were not surprised that Song Qingming brought her to King Hufang this time. However, the Qi Refining and Immortal cultivating families under the various families were really surprised to see that someone from the Song family had successfully built a foundation. In just over 20 years, the Song family has gone from a small Qi Refining family like them to a family with 2 people building a foundation today. It is already as famous as the Wang and Gao families. What happened in the process is really too unimaginable. All of a sudden, all kinds of rumors began to spread throughout Qing County. Some said that Song Qingming had explored a cave of a giant and cultivator, some said that Song Qingming was appreciated by a giant and cultivator, and some even said that the Song family secretly dug a spiritual stone mine decades ago without the knowledge of Zioao sect. Regarding these rumors, Song Qingming strictly prohibited all cultivators of the Song family from paying attention. Such things cannot be strangled at the source, and the more they are described, the more they are blackened. However, no matter how they are spread, the other major foundation-building families are well aware of the rise of the Song family. After all, in the past few hundred years in Qing County, in addition to the Gao and Wang families, it is common for other immortal cultivation families to rise and fall. When Jin Guangyao was building his foundation, the Jin family was in the limelight for a while. However, in just 20 years, as the Qifengling spiritual vein was breached by monsters, Jin Guangyao left Qing County and joined Zioao sect, and the entire Jin family immediately turned back into the small Qi Refining Immortal cultivation family. The rise of the Song family was also the same, but it was only a short period of more than 20 years, and the family's overall foundation was insufficient. Once the foundation-building cultivator who supported the scene had any problems, the entire family would immediately be beaten back to its original form. After arranging Song Qingyu's side, Song Qingming walked around the street and soon came to the Xianfang Tower. Before he reached the door, Song Qingming suddenly found that a black-clothed cultivator wearing a hat and covering his face came out of the Xianfang Tower. Song Qingming looked from a distance, but he could not tell the man's cultivation level at once. He thought that he might also be a foundation-building cultivator. In a small market like King Hufang, there are usually few unfamiliar foundation-building cultivators who come here. Now a foundation-building cultivator with a covered face suddenly appeared and walked out of the Xianfang Tower. It should not be someone Song Qingming is familiar with, which made him feel a little strange. However, strange as it is, there are many cultivators in the world of immortal cultivation who are really devoted to the Tao and do not like to deal with people. For their own safety, these people prefer to cover their faces when they go to the market where people gather. Seeing Song Qingming coming to Xianfang Tower, Li Quan, who was entertaining guests in the lobby, hurried over to inform Wang Xian, who was busy in the kitchen. After a table of delicious food was served, Wang Xian rarely stopped working and sat down, watching Song Qingming taste her cooking seriously. Second sister told me last time that she plans to let Lao Jiayu come to replace you, but she needs to wait until she comes out of seclusion, which should take another half a month. Seeing Wang Xian staring at him, Song Qingming gradually felt a little uncomfortable and opened his mouth to divert her gaze. Wang Xian listened to it without any reaction on her face. She nodded slightly and said, Hongai was in the kitchen, so we should be able to handle it. Xinhu has also been able to get started recently. I think it would be better to transfer him to cooperate with Hongai, so that you don't have to consider other people. Li Quan knows all the accounts of the restaurant in the past few years. If you don't understand anything, just ask him. I have already told him where to buy goods on weekdays. It's okay to let him do this in the future. I just said this sentence, but I didn't expect Wang Xian to reply so much. Song Qingming smiled and nodded, and put his attention back on the food, and Wang Xian also fixed his eyes on his face again. For some reason, Song Qingming felt that today's food seemed to taste better than usual. He also stayed here for a while longer than usual, and he left Xianfang Tower with satisfaction until the sun was setting. 3 days after returning to Funiu Mountain, Song Qingming was still thinking about how to clean up his cave. Unexpectedly, Song Qingyu, who had just been stationed in Qinghofeng for a few days, suddenly returned to Funiu and brought him a very shocking news. A day ago, Wang Xian suddenly left a note in Xianfang Tower and left Qinghofeng alone, and no one knew where she went. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 271 Seeking the Way. Hearing this news, Song Qingming was stunned. After a while, he took the note brought back by Song Qingyu. On the white paper, there was a line of beautiful characters. This trip is only for seeking the truth. Don't look for me. On a high mountain hundreds of miles away from Qing County, Wang Xian, dressed in black, was standing on a huge rock on the top of the mountain, staring blankly at the sunset in the distant sky. Not far behind her, there was a black monk wearing a bamboo hat. He was holding a few spirit stones in his hands and slowly recovering his mana. After a while, the sun had set and the sky gradually darkened. The black monk sitting on the ground slowly put away his mana and stood up. Seeing Wang Xian still staring at the dark sky, the black monk shook his head and walked over and said, "It's getting late. You should have a good rest. Let's continue our journey tomorrow." Wang Xian came back to her senses after hearing the voice behind her. She forced out a smile and nodded and walked down slowly. Half a month later, in the Fairy Phoenix Tower in Qinghofeng. After Wang Xian left, the second sister Song Qingwen had no choice but to ask someone to take over here immediately. Fortunately, under the guidance of Wang Xian, the father and daughter of the Li family, who stayed in the Fairy Phoenix Tower, were very familiar with the business situation here. They quickly helped the new Song family monks who came to run the business to stabilize it. In the private room on the second floor, Song Qingming was eating the spiritual food as usual, tasting the spiritual wine on the table, and soon enjoyed most of the food on the table, as if nothing had happened during this period. Song Qingyu, who had been sitting aside without moving her chopsticks for a few times, said with some displeasure, "The Wang family has sent someone to ask, how should we respond to my sister-in-law's matter? She left suddenly on her own initiative, and we don't know where she went. How can we respond? Just tell the truth, seventh brother, it's been so many days. You have time to come here to enjoy the food, why don't you go out to find her?" Song Qingyu sighed with some regret. She had always hoped that Song Qingming and Wang Xian could become a true Taoist couple as soon as possible. She didn't expect that this kind of thing would happen suddenly when their relationship had reached this point, which made her feel a little regretful. Qingyu, pursuing the Tao is her own choice. Even I have no reason to stop her. Besides, she has been gone for so many days and has long left Qing County. There is no one to point me in a direction in the world. Where can I find her? Song Qingming replied to Song Qingyu with a smile, and then got up and walked slowly out of the Xianfang Tower. With a little bit of intoxication, Song Qingming stepped on the flying sword and came to the mountain where he and Wang Xian often came, looking at the beautiful sunset on the horizon of the market alone. After seeing the note left by Wang Xian that day, Song Qingming instantly recalled the various strange feelings she showed when he last saw Wang Xian. It seems that Wang Xian's departure this time was not a temporary decision, but should have been thought about when she met him that time. At that time, he only said one sentence, and she directly talked about so many matters of the handover of the restaurant. Such things should be said when the second sister brought people to the handover, but Wang Xian suddenly told him all about it, which should be ready to leave at any time. If I had been more careful at that time and felt that she was wrong, maybe I would have had a chance to stop her. But it was a pity that I missed it after all. Thinking of the way she had been looking at me closely in the Xianfang Tower, Song Qingming could still feel that Wang Xian would come back in the future. The sunset will eventually set, but as long as you get through the night, the sun will rise again. There is no need to guess why Wang Xian left at this time. Song Qingming also knew that she must be going out to find a foundation building opportunity. Wang Xian's cultivation has already reached the 9th level of Qi Refining. Naturally, nothing is more important to her than building a foundation, but she wants to build a foundation, but there is no way to find a foundation building pill in Qinghofeng, so leaving here has become an understandable choice. As a Taoist partner, although Song Qingming has been good to her over the years, Wang Xian would never think that she can easily get a spiritual object like the foundation building pill by relying on Song Qingming. This is also the truth. Song Qingming has not been out much in the past few years, and there is really no way to exchange for the foundation building pill immediately. This is also the biggest reason why he did not choose to take the initiative to find her after Wang Xian left. After all, he can't give her any promises for the time being, so he can only respect her choice. However, Song Qingming had experienced hardships outside and knew that the world of immortal cultivation was full of various dangers. These days, he was very worried about Wang Xian, but there was nothing he could say. No matter what, she was doing it for her own path. It might not be a bad thing for her to have the courage to go out for a walk. In this way, Wang Xian temporarily disappeared from Song Qingming's side, and life returned to normal. After receiving the reply from the Song family, the Wang family did not say anything more. Only Wang Xian's father came to Xiangfang Tower alone to inquire a few times. In recent years, due to the rapid improvement of Song Qingming's talisman-making skills, the talismans he made have made some reputation in Qing County. Whether it is the small Qi refining families below, or even the people of the Wang and Gao families, they have sent people to the Song family to purchase talismans. Making a second-level talisman is not a difficult task for him now. As long as he has the materials, he can at least match the efficiency of 4 or 5 second-level talisman makers. However, it is difficult to do because Qinghefang is just a small market after all. Not everyone can afford a second-level talisman. Many Qi refining and immortal cultivating families buy 1 or 2 second-level talismans just to add some heritage to the family, and they will not use them casually. Over the years, he has accumulated more and more second-level talismans, and has invested a lot of spiritual stones. However, because the market in Qinghefang is gradually saturated, it is becoming more and more difficult to sell. He still has to find a way to find a place to dispose of some first, so that he can have more money on hand. After thinking about the best place to deal with these talismans, Song Qingming decided to come to Gianfang. Although Gianfang is not as big as Yangshanfang, it is backed by the floating cloud mountains, which attracts many cultivators to hunt monsters here. Therefore, although Gianfang is not the largest market in Uyghur, the consumption of talismans and magic tools here is much more than other markets. Chapter 272, Huanayan Pavilion. This time when Song Qingming came to Gianfang, he brought Shichun with him to help. He had been in Gianfang for many years before and was more familiar with the place than Song Qingming. With his help and guidance, Song Qingming successfully found a shop that bought second-level talismans on the first day and sold a lot of talismans. On the second day, under the recommendation of Shichun, Song Qingming came to a shop called Huanayan Pavilion. As soon as he entered the door, Song Qingming saw that there were several foundation-building monks sitting in the lobby, seemingly waiting for something. He was immediately surprised. This shop did not look very conspicuous, but he did not expect to attract so many foundation-building monks at once. Seeing Song Qingming come in, 2 of them even bowed to him in a friendly manner. Seeing this, Song Qingming quickly returned the greeting, and then looked around and did not see the waiters. He guessed that they should have gone to help the people in front of him get something, so he stood aside patiently and waited. After a while, a fat shopkeeper came out from the back hall, apologized to the few people, took out a few bottles of elixirs and handed them to 2 of them. After the payment and goods were settled, the 2 left quickly. The shopkeeper turned around and looked at the other 2 people who had greeted Song Qingming before, and said very politely, "To Taoist friends, the time for this exchange meeting has been confirmed. It will be at midnight in 2 days. Please remember to be on time." After that, the fat shopkeeper stuffed a bag of spiritual tea into each of the 2 people's hands. "Okay, we will take our leave first." The 2 people were not polite and directly put the things sent by the fat shopkeeper into their storage bags before bowing and leaving. After the 2 left, the fat shopkeeper turned around and looked at Song Qingming, who was sitting alone. "This fellow Taoist looks a little unfamiliar. This should be the first time you come to my Huanayan Pavilion. If you don't know what you want, please tell me directly. We are here to entertain foundation-building cultivators. I guarantee you will be satisfied." Seeing that this fat shopkeeper, a foundation-building cultivator, was doing such chores like a young cultivator in the Qi refining stage, with a licking smile, Song Qingming was also a little surprised. When he came here, he only learned from Shichun that there were many second-level spiritual objects for sale in Huanayan Pavilion. He didn't know that this place was so different from other shops. After looking for a long time, it seemed that there was really no ordinary clerk, only this foundation building cultivator who is the shopkeeper himself, which really surprised him. Don't worry, fellow Taoist. I came here to ask if you accept second-level talismans. Of course I accept second-level talismans, but I still need to see what kind of talismans you have. If it's the kind that I have in stock, then I won't accept it for now. We can be friends first and you can bring it to me later. Hearing that Song Qingming was here to sell talismans, the fat shopkeeper immediately lost most of his interest, but he still politely asked Song Qingming to take out the talisman first. Song Qingming's attitude towards him was also expected. After all, although it was a second-level talisman, it was not a rare thing in such a big market. If you just shout a few times on the street, you might be able to call a few second-level talisman makers. After carefully taking out 5 or 6 talismans of various kinds, Song Qingming narrowed his eyes and said, "Please take a look, fellow Taoist. If you like them, I have more on me." The fat shopkeeper picked up the talisman and looked at it. Then his expression changed immediately. After a while, he picked out a talisman and handed it back to Song Qingming, saying with a smile, "I have enough of this talisman. No matter how many other talismans you have, I will take them all. Don't worry about the price. I will definitely give you the highest price in Guianfang." Hearing this, Song Qingming was relieved and happily took out more than a dozen talismans and handed them to the fat shopkeeper. "That's all for now. Please give me a price first. I still need to buy some elixirs." In fact, Song Qingming had more than a dozen talismans on him. The reason why Song Qingming said this was that he didn't want to attract too much attention from others, so as not to bring himself unnecessary trouble. Sure enough, when the fat shopkeeper heard what Song Qingming said, he immediately shifted his attention to selling his own elixirs. After such a round of transactions, Song Qingming had more than 1,000 spirit stones and several bottles of elixirs needed for cultivation. "Friends on, what is the exchange meeting you talked about before? Can you tell me about it?" After the transaction was completed, Song Qingming turned around and asked before leaving. During the transaction just now, the fat shopkeeper had told Song Qingming his name and told him that this Huanayan pavilion was opened by him alone and he did not hire other cultivators. This shop used to do some business with Qi refining cultivators. More than 10 years ago, several Qi refining clerks he hired suddenly conspired to steal several of his spiritual objects and ran away when he was not paying attention. Although these things were not very valuable, they made him no longer like to trust the clerks below. Later, he simply dismissed all the clerks and only did business with foundation building cultivators. When the fat shopkeeper heard Song Qingming asking about the exchange fair, his eyes lit up and he answered, "This is organized by me and a few fellow Taoists. Only cultivators above the foundation building stage can participate. There are only a dozen people in total. If you are interested, you can come along. However, this exchange fair is held here. We don't charge commissions, but we charge each person 10 spirit stones for participating ones, which is also considered a venue fee. So, can I participate? As long as you have my recommendation, it won't be a problem. Our exchange fair is held every few months. If you live in Guianfang, you can meet many fellow Taoists by participating in our exchange fair, which is also a very beneficial thing for you." Seeing that Song Qingming was somewhat interested, the fat shopkeeper quickly struck while the iron was hot and tempted him with a few words. "What you said makes some sense. I will definitely not miss this exchange fair. I hope you can help introduce me to someone else." Song Qingming nodded and agreed. "Don't worry, the exchange will start on time in 2 days. As long as you come, I will not refuse. You will know it then. In that case, thank you very much, fellow Taoist Zan. I will definitely be here on time," Song Qingming said and bowed. With a warm farewell of the fat shopkeeper, he happily walked out of Huanayan Pavilion. After returning to the rented cave, Shichun, who had been running outside for a day, also came back soon. After seeing Song Qingming, he shook his head gently and sat aside. This time when he came to Guianfang, Song Qingming not only asked Shichun to help find a place to buy talismans, but also gave him a task to find out whether Wang Xian had come here. Chapter 273 Participating in the Exchange Meet. When the monks in Qing County traveled, most of them would choose to come to Guianfang. Song Qingming also stayed here for 5 or 6 years and joined the Fian Guard in the market. However, Song Qingming did not come to Guianfang to find Wang Xian this time. His main purpose was to sell some talismans and purchase some materials he needed. After arriving here, he would see if there was any news about her. Shi Chun had asked around in the market these days, but did not find any news about Wang Xian. There were at least thousands of casual cultivators hanging around Yianfang. It was indeed difficult to find an inconspicuous Qi Refining monk here. Song Qingming was not too surprised by this result. He smiled and nodded at Shi Chun, and asked him to go back and rest first. Shi Chun helped him a lot when he came to Yianfang this time, which saved Song Qingming a lot of skills. This time he brought more than 62nd level talismans with him to Yianfang. He had already used more than half of them in the past few days. If everything goes well, Song Qingming should be able to set off to return to Qing County in a few days. 2 days later, in Huanayan Pavilion, seeing Song Qingming coming on time for the appointment, Fatty Zan took him to the more secluded second floor with a diligent look. Compared with the inconspicuous sign downstairs and the ordinary furnishings on the first floor, the second floor of Huanayan Pavilion was unusually gorgeous. As soon as he came up, Song Qingming saw a large living room with carved beams and painted buildings, magnificent and beautiful. In the center of the hall, there were already 7 cultivators sitting upright. After a glance, Song Qingming also saw the 2 people who greeted him that day. These people had different cultivation levels, but they were all above the foundation building level. The aura exuded by the one with the highest cultivation level was no less than Wang Shangxin. Seeing Fatty Zan and Song Qingming coming over, everyone's eyes immediately shifted to them. Dear Daoists, this is Daoist Song. This is his first time to attend the exchange fair. Please take care of him later, Daoist Song. No problem. No problem. After hearing Fatty Zan's introduction, the people who were sitting stood up and greeted Song Qingming. Seeing everyone so enthusiastic, Song Qingming quickly bowed and returned the greetings one by one, and then sat aside under the arrangement of Fatty Zan. After waiting for about half an hour, several more cultivators came, and the cultivators attending the meeting gradually arrived. Among the cultivators who came later, Song Qingming unexpectedly saw an acquaintance, Hu Longhe, who went to explore the Taiyu secret realm with him that year. Although Hu Longhe had established a family in Pinggyang County, he had stayed in Yianfang for decades, and it was normal for him to know the owner of Huanayan Pavilion. However, Song Qingming did not expect that he would rush from Pinggyang County to Yianfang thousands of miles away to attend a small trade fair. Although he and Hu Longhe knew each other, their relationship was only so-so. They were able to get together on the secret realm trip that day because of the Wang family's mediation. This time, they met unexpectedly in Yianfang. They simply greeted each other like other people, without any intention of becoming close friends. To others, it seemed as if he and Hu Longhe had just met. Just as Fatty Zan was about to announce the start of the exchange meeting, the last cultivator came here in a hurry, bowed to the crowd and said, "Something delayed me for a while. I'm really sorry for making you wait for a while." Fatty Zan coughed and said, "Dao Luo's exchange meeting is about to start. Please take a seat first." After everyone was seated, Fatty Zan walked to the stage and said, "Dao, you all know that our small-scale exchange meeting is held at irregular times. The main purpose is to facilitate everyone to exchange some spiritual objects, and by the way, you can get to know each other and exchange more cultivation experiences, so as to avoid taking too many detours and delaying your own path in cultivation. This exchange will be held as usual. My Huanayan Pavilion will only charge the fees for the pre-arrangement. I will not take any commission from any spiritual objects you bring out in the future. You all can come here to respect me, Zan. If you need any help in the future, you can also come to my Huanayan Pavilion. As long as I can, I will do my best to help. Well, I won't say too much nonsense here. Let the exchange begin now." The exchange organized by the foundation building cultivators will naturally not focus on the sale of spiritual stones. If you want to exchange things here, you also need to be able to bring out spiritual objects that others have brought. As soon as Fatty Zan finished speaking, some people began to get impatient. A casual cultivator named Meng stood up and said, "I have something to do later and I am in a hurry to leave. I will try to see if I can win the first prize today." The speaker was a cultivator at the 5th level of foundation building. He stretched out his hand from the storage bag on his waist. After a flash of yellow light, a golden jade box appeared in his hand. "I have a few second-grade top-grade green cloud bamboos in my hand, which can be used to refine second-grade top-grade magic tools. The value of this thing should be clear to old friends who have come here several times. I want to use this thing to exchange for a second-grade medium-grade flying sword. If the price of the magic tool exceeds the spiritual object in my hand, I am willing to use spiritual stones to supplement it. I will never let you suffer a loss. At first, when Song Qingming saw the green cloud bamboo that this person took out, he was still a little moved. This thing was considered a top-grade material for refining tools, but when he heard this person say that he wanted a second-grade medium-grade magic tool, Song Qingming sighed slightly in his heart. Although the value of this thing is not lower than that of a second-grade medium-grade magic tool, it is still just a raw material after all. If you want to refine it into a magic tool, you still need to ask a second-grade top-grade refiner to do it, and you still need to spend a lot of money in the middle. If the refining fails in the end, you will lose all your money. For an ordinary foundation building cultivator, most people are definitely unwilling to gamble on this probability with a medium-grade magic tool. Only those elite foundation building cultivators who need to pursue top-grade second-grade magic tools will want green cloud bamboo more. It's a pity that there is no one who is pursuing a top-grade magic weapon here today. The owner of the Kions who held the jade box and shouted a few times, but still no one answered. He could only put away the spiritual object and walked away angrily. Then 2 more people came on stage. This time, the things they took out were more ordinary. They also exchanged for the spiritual objects they wanted. However, Song Qingming was not interested in these things. He sat in his seat and did not speak. Until the 4th person came on stage, Song Qingming's eyes finally lit up and he saw what he wanted very much. This Qingming is a book of formations written by a good friend of mine for many years. It records dozens of different second-level formation diagrams. I want to exchange this thing for a second-level purple gold orchid or a spiritual medicine of equal value. Chapter 274 Qingxi Pen Talk. Hearing that this book recorded dozens of formation diagrams, Song Qingming was immediately moved by this thing. However, although he was already very agitated, Song Qingming still did not show too much anxiety on his face. So many years of cultivation also taught him how to control his emotions. In such a place, once you show too much anxiety, the other party is likely to find some excuses to raise the price. Song Qingming patiently looked at it. There were several cultivators who had been looking at the formation book in the old man's hand. They seemed to be as interested as him. Soon a voice sounded in the living room. Brother Gudeo, I wanted to exchange the frost flower in my hand with you last time. Otherwise, you should consider it again. A middle-aged man sitting next to Song Qingming shouted at the white-haired old man. The old man looked at the man with some disgust, shook his head firmly and said, if you really want it, at least you have to replenish some spirit stones. Don't think about taking advantage of me. The middle-aged man smiled and waved his hand when he heard it, and he didn't speak again. Seeing that the two of them had not reached an agreement, Song Qingming immediately said, fellow Taoist Gu, I happen to have a purple orchid on me. See if you can exchange it for your book. The old man surnamed Gu, who had just been a little disappointed, heard someone say that there was a spiritual medicine he wanted, and hurriedly took the jade box handed over by Song Qingming, opened it and took a closer look. Haha. Yes, this pearl spiritual medicine is exactly what I want. Little brother, this Qingxi B10 is yours. The book records the years of hard work of my friend, but don't let him down. Seeing the purple spiritual medicine full of spiritual energy in the jade box, the old man surnamed Gu immediately laughed happily in his heart and handed the formation book in his hand to Song Qingming personally. After putting away the formation book, Song Qingming just sat back in his seat, but found that a cold look suddenly shot over from the side. It was the middle-aged man who was rejected when he wanted to exchange with the old man just now. Not only Song Qingming felt it, the old man who was trading with him also felt the big man's bad behavior, and said with a serious face, Xiangkonghu, I advise you not to think too much. Since Qingxi Bitan has been returned to fellow Taoist Song, if you pick a fight with him in Gianfang, it will be a slap in my face. Don't blame me for not reminding you then. Upon hearing what the old man surnamed Gu said, Xiangkonghu was stunned for a moment, and then quickly said with a smile, Brother Gu, you are joking. Those who come to the exchange meeting are all friends. How can I pick a fight with others for a formation book? You underestimate me too much. Xiangkonghu's cultivation is slightly higher than Song Qingming's, and he has cultivated to the 6th level of foundation building, but the old man surnamed Gu's cultivation is higher than the others. This person's cultivation realm has broken through the 7th level of foundation building, and he is also one of the 2 highest level foundation building cultivators present. It is precisely because of his strength that he did not take Xiongkonghu seriously and dared to speak harshly to him in front of everyone. After hearing what the old man surnamed Gu said, Fatty Zan, as the organizer of this exchange meeting, naturally knew what had just happened. He quickly came over and whispered to Song Qingming, "Don't worry, Brother Song, if anyone troubles you because of this, just come to Huanayan Pavilion to find me." Song Qingming didn't really care about Xiongkonghu's threat. He was going to leave Gianfeng soon anyway. Even if Xiongkonghu wanted to trouble him in the future, it would be unlikely, unless this guy dared to go to Qing County to find him. After this transaction was over, Song Qingming didn't see any spiritual objects suitable for him. It was not until his turn to play that he took out 2 second-level low-grade spiritual talismans to exchange for a few spiritual fruits that could improve his cultivation a little bit. What surprised Song Qingming was that Hu Longhe actually took out a second-level puppet beast this time and wanted to exchange at the exchange meeting. All the cultivators went up to exchange spiritual objects, and most of them got what they wanted. In the end, the exchange meeting ended with a shouting of Fatty Zan. After Song Qingming returned to his rented cave, he couldn't wait to take out Qingxi B10 and concentrate on savoring this rare array book. In recent years, Song Qingming's array skills seemed to have encountered a huge bottleneck. No matter how hard he tried to refine the second-level array, he couldn't get started. So far, he has failed more than a dozen times and has never been able to move forward. This also made him very pessimistic about his array, and he always felt that he might still have a poor talent. Although Song Qingming has not made a second-level array in recent years, he has never completely given up his skills. When he saw Qingxi B10 today, Song Qingming instantly made up his mind to find a way to get this thing. Most of the array books left by the Liu family were first-level arrays, and there were only a few records about second-level arrays, which did not help Song Qingming. When he was in Gianfeng, Song Qingming also exchanged a lot of array books in the Kanjing Pavilion, but these were all first-level arrays without exception, which were basically useless to him now. Whether it was Gianfeng, Yangshanfang at the foot of Xiaoyao sect, or other markets, there were no books about second-level arrays for sale. Today, Song Qingming finally came across it, and naturally cherished this book very much. In this way, he studied in seclusion in the cave for several days, and then walked out of the cave with satisfaction. Seeing Shichun meditating quietly from a distance, Song Qingming did not forcibly disturb him, and left his residence alone and came to Gianfeng. These days, he has already used up most of the second-level talismans in his hand, and naturally the number of spiritual stones in his hand has increased. Taking advantage of the fact that he is in Gianfeng now, Song Qingming plans to go to the market to take a look and buy materials for refining formations. If he doesn't take this opportunity to get some materials for refining second-level formations, it will not be so easy to find these things when he returns to Qing County. With Qingxi Pentok in his hand, Song Qingming has a great confidence in breaking through to become a second-level formation master after so many days of research. It really didn't take the spiritual stones to help him. If it weren't for the help of this thing, he didn't know when he would be so confident to break through his formation level again. When Song Qingming came back satisfied, Shichun had also finished a day of practice and was waiting for him at the door of the cave. "Pack up your things, let's go back tomorrow." Hearing the specific time of returning to Qing County from Song Qingming's mouth, Shichun was stunned for a moment, and then nodded. Chapter 275, Level 2 Array Master. The reason why Song Qingming was in such a hurry to go back was not because he was really afraid that the people he would offend would come to trouble him, but mainly because Song Qingming was anxious to go back and collect materials so that he could quickly break through his formation level. This time, he came to Gianfeng, which was very smooth. Not only did Song Qingming have a lot of spirit stones on him, but he also unexpectedly got a book called Qingxi B10, which could improve his formation level. To be honest, he had to thank Shichun for half of the credit. Just before leaving Gianfeng, Shichun specially distributed the portrait of Wang Xian that he had asked someone to draw in the past few days to some of his former friends who were casual cultivators, asking them to help keep an eye on this person. Once they had any news, they would quickly send a message to Funiu, and they would definitely be rewarded. These people have been in Gianfeng and Funiu Mountain for many years. As long as Wang Xian really came here, she would not be able to completely avoid their eyes after a long time, and news would come sooner or later. After leaving Qingming, the two hurried all the way and returned to Funiu smoothly. Qingming was in a good mood and specially gave Qichun a second-level spiritual talisman as his reward. Qichun was recruited to the Song family by Qingming, the helmsman of the family. In these years in Funiu, even the elders of the Qing generation were polite to him because of Qingming's face. Qichun had a good life in the Song family in these years. As soon as he arrived at the Song family, Qichun served as a guest elder of the family. His status in the Song family was slightly lower than that of several elders in charge, and he was highly valued by Qingming. 2 years after arriving at the Song family, with the help of the clan leader Song Changfeng, Qichun also married a female cultivator of the Xin generation of the Song family as his wife, which was considered to be completely rooted in the Song family. The two have given birth to 2 children in these years, but it is a pity that none of them have spiritual roots. Qingming has been studying the art of talismans for the past few years, and he already has a lot of second-level talismans on him. He has found excuses to reward almost every 9th-level Qi Refining cultivator in the family who can use second-level talismans with a second-level talisman for self-defense. Qichun's cultivation level also reached the 9th level of Qi Refining a year ago. Qingming just had an excuse this time, so he treated him equally and gave him one for self-defense in the future. In the Song family, those who can cultivate to the 9th level of Qi Refining are the absolute backbone of the family. The safety of these people is also what Qingming is most worried about. Now, with Qingming's intentional reward, each of them has an extra second-level talisman, and their combat capabilities have naturally improved a lot. The 9th level Qi Refining cultivator holding a second-level talisman is far more powerful than ordinary Qi Refining cultivators. Even if they face foundation-building cultivators, they can have a little chance to threaten the other party. After returning to Funiu, Qingming immediately fell into seclusion again, but this time he was not making talismans, but preparing to start refining the second-level formation to break through his own formation skills. But before that, it still takes some time to collect various materials. Half a month later, under the instruction of Qingming, the Song family cultivators immediately began to collect special materials for refining array formations in the market. The difficulty of the second-level array selected by Qingming this time was relatively general, and the materials required for refining were not particularly rare. The Song family only spent a few days in Qinghefang to collect most of them. The remaining most difficult second-level materials were quickly collected by Qingming after he personally went to Jinshanfang. After half a year of retreat and thinking, Qingming, as expected, successfully refined his first set of second-level array formations, breaking through his array formation skills to the second level. The second-level array he refined was the most common second-level gathering spirit array. When it was arranged in the cave of cultivation, it could greatly increase the concentration of spiritual energy around the cave in a short period of time. It was also a common array in the world of immortal cultivation. The classic book Qingxi B10 was written by Qingxi Sanren, a close friend of the old man surnamed Gu. This Qingxi Sanren was once a well-known casual cultivator near Qingming. His formation skills had reached the second-level upper grade. Although he was a genius and had cultivated to the 9th level of foundation building early on, he failed to form a pill several times. His lifespan was insufficient decades ago. Before he passed away, he had no descendants to entrust his spiritual objects to, so he had to give all his spiritual objects to his close friends, so that they could help pay attention to some of his descendants left in Qingming in the future. This old man surnamed Gu was a good friend of Qingxi Sanren back then, and he was given the formation book left by Qingxi Sanren. Unfortunately, his formation talent was average, and after getting this book, he didn't use it much. Decades have passed, and the old man surnamed Gu's affection for Qingxi Sanren has gradually faded with the passage of time. After all, people leave and tea gets cold, and ordinary friendships are difficult to maintain for too long. Recently, he was eager to break through the realm, and the old man surnamed Gu was going to ask someone to help him refine a furnace of elixir. He just happened to be short of a few elixir, so he simply took this thing out to the exchange meeting, and happened to meet Qingming, a person who liked formations, and exchanged some spiritual objects that were more useful to him. The two of them got what they needed this time. The Qingxi Classics was not very useful in his hands, but in Qingming's eyes, this classic was still far more than what he paid at that time. In this classic, Kingxi Sanren not only recorded the various formations he encountered during his 200 years of journey, but also specially marked his various experiences when refining the formation. It was precisely with such good annotations that Song Qingming was able to refine the second-level formation so smoothly this time. Compared with the breakthrough in the art of making talismans, Song Qingming's interest in the art of formations is obviously more talented. His ability to improve the art of making talismans so quickly is entirely due to practice, but he does have some talent in the study of formations. This time, Song Qingming was blessed with double happiness. Not only did he improve his formation skills, but his cultivation also broke through to the 5th level of foundation building a month ago. Because of the existence of the incomplete map, he could greatly shorten the time it takes to recover his mana. Even though Song Qingming has been focusing on making talismans and refining formations in recent years, his own cultivation has not fallen behind at all. At the age of 70, he has cultivated to the 5th level of foundation building. This cultivation speed is almost catching up with the average cultivator with 2 spiritual roots. Song Qingming is very satisfied with his current cultivation level. In the entire Qing County, the only people of the same age who can cultivate faster than him are Wang Shengxin and Gao Yubei of the Gao family. It can be said to be a miracle that he can keep up with them with a pseudo-spiritual root of 4 spiritual roots. With the improvement of his cultivation, the mana in Song Qingming's body has also increased a lot. Now his success rate in making talismans or refining formations will also be slightly improved. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.